Okay, so how do you eat an elephant? Okay, if you're a vegetarian, you don't, okay? But elephant meat is not the most delicious meat, let me tell you. So you just don't eat an elephant. Today we're going to open up about retention. We're going to talk about a little bit about time management. We're going to talk about how you set up your schedules, part-time, full-time. We're going to talk about how we do telephone coaching. We're going to talk about how we do telephone closing, not as a means to intimidate the customer, but as a training tool to evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of your team members. We're going to talk about recognizing people, okay? This is one of my favorite quotes by Mary Kay Ash. She says that 2 things that people love more than sex and money is what? Praise and recognition. Okay? Good old Mary Kay. Let's see here. We're going to talk about training resources. Any of you have read a book in the last month? I hope more of you raising your hands. Yeah, read a book. A book? Maybe not the whole book, but you open a book? You read your text. Oh, excellent. You read your text once a week, okay? You read an email, okay? Okay, so we're talking about intentional development, and these are some specific resources I recommend that are the best in several categories. We'll talk about that. By the way, do you believe that people are born a success or they condition themselves for success? It's all about what? Conditioning, isn't it? So we're going to go through some success conditioning words, which some of you might think is a little hokey pokey, but I will tell you, once you adopt the cliches, what you will do is it's like a switch. If you want to be a great closer, what does a great closer do? Turns a negative into a positive, right? Whether it be bookings, selling, recruiting, or whatever. A great closer deals with a concern and turns it into an opportunity. Now, if somebody has stinking thinking, by the way, what's more important? Your attitude or your aptitude? You got to have a golden attitude in life, in business, and particularly in sales, because you're going to face what? Frustration, rejection. So you got to keep your attitude up. So if you're working with somebody and their attitude is down, wouldn't you agree that these cliches will be a great way to switch a negative to a positive? Yeah. So we're going to talk about some success conditionings here today. Aren't you excited? Yeah. We're going to talk about how you can make $1,000 a day every day or more. Okay, now there is a condition there. Okay, this is where I do my income disclosure. Some results may vary depending on effort and skill level. Okay, so we're going to talk about some steps to take to actually be in a position to earn $1,000 a day. We're going to talk about how you can move towards becoming a dealer. We're going to do a quick little summary. We're going to integrate. We're going to give you an opportunity to evaluate, and we're going to graduate. You like those 8s? So you just ate food. Now we're going to, what? I totally forgot what I said, but that sounded pretty good, right? Okay. We're going to evaluate. We're going to graduate. We're going to do all that stuff. Okay. So anyways, one of the bonuses, by the way, who likes bonuses? Okay, so I like bonuses with lots of zeros. Now, the bonus I'm going to give you here today is not even on the curriculum. Those of you at home, you do have a copy. It's a basic training checklist. And what I want to do is I want to open up with this one because we were talking about training and developing last time, weren't we? Now, every dealership has a different program. I'm not saying change your program, and I'm not doubting anything that your dealership's doing, but they're all the same information. And what we want to do when we're training people is make sure we what? We give them consistency with that information. We also give them what? Repetition of that information. So what happens in the classroom, we want to reinforce where? In the field and on the phone. We said the phone is your friend. The phone is the most powerful training tool that you have because time, distance, and space with part-time people, you can't be face-to-face with people enough. Okay? And so with this, there's 3 pages on this checklist. Those of you at home, I trust that you printed this off. But what's kind of cool is we break down in the orientation, what are the key points that I want to highlight on? Bing, bing, bing. Okay? I would put this in your resource guide for training. Right? As a professional, you should be filing away all this stuff. You should have soft copies, hard copies of all this stuff, and your hard copies should be scribbled with notes all over the place. So it's okay to make notes all over the place. Okay, when you do training, sometimes people drive for a long time, don't they? Right? Would it make sense to give them a refreshment? Okay, we normally serve tequila and wine, but we found that too much of it interferes with the learning process. That's a joke. Okay, so, maybe something to eat, maybe a snack, maybe it's dinner time. Some people have blood sugar issues, right? So we want to make sure, I'm not going to go through all the points here, got it? But I do want to let you know this is a checklist resource that you can go back on. So when you're following up your people as they're progressing through their fast start, through their stock program, you can go back and go, okay, great. Teach the salad machine. I noticed on the show that your salad demo was okay. I go back to it. Were they building value? Were they explaining the cones? Did they explain how a customer can use it? Now these are just taking something that you don't think about, and we break it down into very logical little chunks. Okay, so that way you can have consistency, okay, in what we do. Product knowledge, programs on dealing with the warm market lists and the scripting, from the booking with referrals to booking on prospecting to homework assignments. By the way, who does not have their paperwork here? Does everyone have a copy? Do you have a copy? Do you guys at home have copies? Have you printed them out? You got one? You didn't get one? It's $55. You want to collect his money just for today as a drop-in? Make sure cash only. No post-dated checks. Okay, we have assignments. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're in training, if people just sit in the classroom for 2 hours and they don't do anything afterwards, what's going to happen? Just like we gave you assignment, you always want to do what? Give assignment, log the assignment, follow up the assignment. Giving the assignment is usually where a lot of people are pretty good at, right? Here's the call to action, here's your assignment, but you know what they're poor at? The follow-up, okay? Just like you follow up a show, you need to follow up a new person, because a lot of times they're part-time and they forgot. But if they forget chronically, what happens? They never grow. Does that make sense? So our job is to help people, help them take a step up, okay? So the demonstration. Points on the demonstration, points on the flip chart, points, all the high points, the most important points of the pot test. Stories, what are the most important stories that people should learn on their dinner? Okay, if I'm dealing with a third-party story. Advanced training, what specific things do I need to do? I know the primary weakness of all new recruits, what do you think it is? People say it's closing, right? It's not closing, it's price conditioning and value building, okay? And it's booking and it's recruiting. And guess what we do? If we know the weaknesses, what do? People are only strong as what? Their weakest link. We work on that in advanced training once they know the fundamentals. And the third page, what we have, and I hope you guys at home have printed this off because it's so much easier to follow when you have a visual, okay, is the pricing and packaging, all the little points to cover to make sure that people are delivering the message enthusiastically and getting people excited about what? Replacing the set they have and getting the largest set possible that fits their needs and their budget. This is a little bit of recap. When we talk about the next point, building your business, should people know about that in basic training? Yes. They do. Okay, but keep in mind, we feed people in baby steps. We don't want to give people 23 days of training, to overwhelm them before they get started, because they get stuck on start. They get analysis paralysis. We give them baby steps. But this is a checklist on how we develop people, all the way really up to distributors and how distributors develop their team leaders. Customer service, we talked about that before, all the fine points. Prospecting techniques, and of course final completion. So that is a bonus. Congratulations. No extra charge on that one. So, by the way, do you know what one of the most expensive things it is for any company that creates resistance to growth?
Retention.
Right. Retention, training and development, retention, training and development. Do you realize that from a company, the cost of training a new person is 25 to 200% of their annual wages? Okay, so you go, whoa, right? So what's the value of a team member? You have to ask yourself that question. And what are you willing to do to learn how to retain that person longer? Now, did you know that everybody leaves this business? Some people, I like to say, people are here for a season, a reason, and some a lifetime. Larry Dickman's been here for 52 years, and that selfish son of a gun is going to leave this business one day. I'm being sarcastic, okay? Some people are here for a stock program. Some people are here for a year. Some people are 5, some 10. Some people are here because this is their mission, their passion, and it fulfills all their needs. That's what we're talking about. Fulfilling what? Needs, okay? And so every businesses will have attrition. Sales will have a little bit more attrition than most industries. Attrition is directly related to individual leadership. Got it? Okay. You can retain people longer simply by incorporating this business into their needs. We're going to talk about the 6 human needs. This is a psychological phenomenon. I don't care what your race, your religion, your orientation, where on the planet you come from. You may even be from Mars, but everybody has what? 6 human needs. If you can integrate at least 4 of the 6, guess what happens? Guess what happens? This is big. Okay, that's a psychological phenomena. Okay, what Vanna said there is they become chemically addicted. Okay? In fact, there is an emotional addiction because we're all emotional beings, aren't we? Okay? And is that bad or good? It's a great thing, isn't it? If it's good for them and if it's good for you and everybody involved. So let's talk and fill in the blanks as we go through these needs. So the needs are what? Certainty, variety, significance, community, connection, love. Okay? Well, you made it for graduation. What else? Growth and contribution. Okay? So the 4 foundational needs, these are, I like to call secular, and the other 2 needs are spiritual. Now, I'm not trying to get too detailed with you, okay? But I just want you to kind of write down examples of this. And as we go along today, you're going to go, wow, that's a need of certainty. Wow, that's a need of significance. Wow, that's a need of growth. Wow, how can I incorporate that into my business? Okay? When you start linking these things together and you go, okay, great. This is how I can retain my team members longer by helping them get what they want. Okay? And also being sensitive to any uncertainties that they might have. Okay, so the first thing, certainty. What are some things that give people certainty? Consistency. Okay? What are other things? When we talk about consistency, we talk about policy and programs. Okay, doesn't that make sense to be consistent? Right? I have an office. By the way, sometimes it's opened. Just call me a couple days in advance to see if I'm going to be there. Right? Is that consistency? No. Okay. Here's our policies and procedures, but we change them every week. Okay, that's a bad example. But what happens a lot of times is, people start changing things too much and people get confused. Confusion creates uncertainty. Uncertainty is linked in many cases with what? Fear and doubt, okay? Which is a negative emotion. So, law of averages. By the way, certainty. I know if you all know that if you cook 3 dinners, you'd make $1,000. How many dinners a week would you cook? 6, 9, 10.5. Okay, a cooking and qualified show too, right? So if people understand the law of averages, most people that come into this business have no sales background. What does that mean? You have to educate them and sell them on what? Sales. Otherwise they're going to get doubt and uncertainty and they're going to doubt themselves, aren't they? Okay? So we talk about law of averages. What we want to do is we use their averages. We use your company averages so they understand their averages for booking, their averages for recruiting, their averages for selling, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? Next point, variety. By the way, we've all heard the variety is what? The spice of life. And we are in the spice business, aren't we? Okay? So there is certainty on a demo by cooking chicken, salad, cake, lasagna or pancit or whatever, right? There's a certain certainty that's created when we do the same thing. But if you turn every dinner into like a cooking class, what happens? It's hard to train, isn't it? Okay? So variety is cool, but variety can also create uncertainty. So, okay, let's talk about variety you can have on your dinner show. Let's say you do a dinner from the same hostess. Can you integrate variety? You can. You can have the same meal, but maybe the salad is a little different, right? Or maybe it's a different type of cake. You see what I'm saying? Rather than like a vegetarian lasagna, maybe you throw some ground chicken in there or something. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like the same thing, but you don't get overly creative, but you get a little spice in there. What about when it comes down to open house? Can you add variety to your open house? Yes. Can you imagine if you serve the same food, the same day, every single time with the same music? You know, sure, it'd be exciting in the beginning stages, but after you've done it 10 times, you're going, need some spice. Does that make sense? So we're always looking at changing things up in a sense to make it what? More exciting. Okay. What about recipes? Is that variety? Yes. You bet. Okay. And what about in training? Is there a way to create variety in training? Yes. How do we do that? Different types of training. We use the different senses: audible, visual, kinesthetic. You can put videos on. You can get guest speakers. You can do role playing. You can do round robins. Right? You can take turns reading. There's lots of ways of doing that, right? So we have certainty. We have next is what? Variety. Are you making notes as we're going through? Who does not have a pen? Right? Pen is your friend. Your best friend. Your second best friend is a contract. Make sure you don't leave home without them. Okay. Next one is what? Community, connection, love. Okay. By the way, if you've ever had a baby and the baby's growing up and you are not physically connected to the baby, a lot of times what does the baby do? They cry. What's a cry for what? Love, attention, help, right? Okay, we all have a need inertly to be what? Loved by another individual, don't we? Okay, so here's a question. How can you create connection and community within your team? Okay? Now, you might have one recruit. What is that? A team. You might only have yourself. You wake up in the mirror and you see yourself. What is that? It's a team. Make sure you get more mirrors. Okay? So, community. How can you create community in your regular meetings? You can have breakouts, can't you? Okay? Can you do conference calls? Yes. Right. Can you get a team name? Yes. Can you get a team color? Yes. Wow, that's some pretty good ideas. Okay? Can you go over to Denny's and have like a pie or something? Not Denny's, somewhere else. I'm just kidding. Sure, absolutely. Having a coffee, sitting down, having a juice or a shake with people or a tea, right? You know, one of the best things we can do in this business is go to another person's home and do a hands-on cooking show. Does that make sense? Okay, before I do my solo dinner, great, let me come over to your home on a non-productive time and let's role play that dinner out. Okay? And you know what? You're in the comfort of the home. All of a sudden you become what? Family. Everybody say that. Family. Okay? All right. So anyway, so what we have certainty, we have variety, we have what? Community, connection. Okay? We can incorporate that into open houses. Yes. Cooking classes. Can you have community with your customers? I'm just reading this book on cover of Bloomberg right now. Is Harley Davidson. Now, Harley Davidson. Have you heard the terminology hog? Yes. Right. What you know what a hog is? It's not the motorcycle. It's what is it? It's a membership. It's a team. It's Harley Owners Group, right? And they do all sorts of fun stuff together. What do? They build community. Okay. Significance. What does this mean? Recognition, right? You need to know that your contribution matters. It's about showing what? Appreciation. Okay? We're going to talk a little bit later about how we give recognition, how we can improve the recognition that we give to our people. Ultimately, we all want to feel what? Important, don't we? Okay? How can you feel significant? By achievement, right? You feel significant by reaching your goals. Okay? Best way to show appreciation in most cases is publicly, okay, and immediately. Recognize it as soon as possible. Okay? Now let's talk about growth and contribution. Let me ask you a question. If you're growing and learning, can you fail? Yes. Can you? Yes. If your failure is a learning experience for you to grow and improve next time, is it a failure? No. That's a total reframe that's absolutely true, right? The fact of the matter is most people have a belief system, if I don't sell, I have failed. Okay? The reframe is if you learn and grow, guess what you're doing? You're becoming more of a valuable individual and human being so you can actually improve for next time. Okay, so growth is huge, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so how do we incorporate growth and learning into your business? Okay, most people get involved in this business initially. Why? Because they want to learn about healthy, delicious recipes. Health and food, those are number one. And then business, people want to learn about business and sales. Okay, so if we can actually provide information for them to grow, do you think that they're going to want to continue to come to your meetings? Yes. Absolutely. Even if they didn't sell, will they keep on showing up? They will if they understand that they're growing. Okay, and so moving right along is, by the way, that's why we ask the question after a show. Did you have fun? What did you learn? What did you learn? Okay, so what did you sell? How come you didn't sell? What did they say? Let's role play this right now. You only sold a personal set? Well, let's talk about this. Okay? So the number one thing is we what? We talk about what they learned and how they can improve. It totally shifts their thinking. Okay? Next, and the final one is what? To contribute, right? We all want to be a contributor. Now, when we contribute, we want to contribute to something that's good for us, good for others, good for humanity. Okay, we want to contribute to a cause. We want to contribute to the team. The most powerful contribution is more than you, isn't it? Yes. Okay, so one of the things I'm always talking about really is about our what? Mission. And our mission is about what? Contributing to the betterment of all, isn't it? People need to be reminded of the mission. Now sometimes, by the way, people stop showing up to meetings. Why? It could be because maybe they're not appreciated. Right? It could be because they felt that maybe there was a failure and there's no communication to redirect it. But sometimes they don't show up because they feel that what? They're not contributing and they're embarrassed and they're shamed. Does that make sense? So if you know that somebody misses a meeting, what does that mean? Strike one. That's a yellow flag. You start paying attention. They miss 2 meetings, big flag on the phone. Hey, how's it going? And what we do is we review the needs. Does that make sense? Okay, so the fastest way to grow your business is to retain people a little bit longer. Make sense? Okay, next thing. Why do people leave? Problem solution, right? Why do people leave this business? Run out of shows. If I run out of shows, what does that mean? I'm not contributing anymore, right? And I start creating doubt. So ultimately, what's the solution to that? If I run out of shows? Training. Okay? Now there's theory and there's practicum. What works better? Both. Both, but you know what? You got to have the practicum. Okay? I could go text a video and just say, hey, watch a video. Or I can say, let's go together. You see what I'm saying? There is a big difference to that. Okay? What if I have an unresolved problem? What's the solution? Resolve. No, but you know, it's so funny. I'm telling you, it's so very funny. And I'm going to use an example. I am not a perfect individual. And the busier we get, sometimes we, details slip through the cracks, don't they? Okay? And so there was an individual that worked for us 5 years ago. And I had a meeting with him 2 days ago. And I said, hey, did you get my text? Did you get my emails? He goes, yeah, I've been kind of busy. He went to school. He went to school for 4 years. And he got his degree. Now he's getting his master's right now. He'll be finished in December. And so I discovered why he decided to stop being active. You know what it was? He didn't get a stock program. But you know what? When we sat down and talked about it, I said, you never gave me feedback. And so we put a program on to extend. Does that make sense? So what do? We put a program to what? Extend it with certain conditions. And guess what? We set it up to profitably say yes. I want you to write that down. How do you profitably say yes? Too many police officers on this planet. And there's nothing wrong with police officers, but we're in a business where we want to reduce resistance. So we want to learn how to say what? Yes, profitably. Can you say yes all the time? No. You can't. Okay, but if you have a mindset of win-win, how do I profitably say yes? The roof will blow up on your business. Okay, so what we did is, he's actually going to be reactivating. right? Problem solution. The best way to deal with a problem is what? As soon as possible, okay? Early as possible. And make sure you communicate and you deal with conflict resolution. Most people avoid conflict. Why? It's uncomfortable. Exactly. Okay? The easiest way to deal with conflict is chunk up and think about how the solution is the betterment for all. Okay? When we talk about the next one, what does it say? Changing of the policy. You know, let's just say, for example, somebody gave away a salad cutter, you know, on a sale. Okay? And it was their very first sale. And they were just excited. And then they got a commission deduction. And they were upset. Okay? What do? Well, you should have read the policy. It's in the policy. Didn't you read it? Okay? Now, what they're thinking is what? Now, they've just been overwhelmed. They just got all this information. They probably retained what? 20%, right? Probably takes them 90 days of repetition to really get it and understand it. So what you can do is you can be right or you can be rich. Which do you prefer? So sometimes you got to suck it up in the short term, but turning it into a learning experience and explain to them, we're going to actually absorb that this time, but next time, guess what? This is the way it works. Does that make sense? Okay. So what about, what's a problem? People what? Why? Okay, what is that? That's an example of uncertainty, isn't it? Okay. So our job is to give people certainty. So what's the solution to that? Is selling them on business, selling them on sales, selling on the contribution they make, selling them on the learning, selling them on the fact that they're growing to become a stronger business person, okay? Or you just go out and you take them by the hand and you have them ride their next show, your next show. We have a thing called a 3 blank rule. If somebody blanks 3 times, we want to send somebody on their next show. If they blank 6 times, we make it mandatory. So we'll put a hold on their stock program and things like that, because what's happening is usually what? They make the same mistakes over and over, okay? So, what's the next point? Lack of smart goals, okay? Well, here's the thing. A lot of people, you know what, their number one goal when they join this business is what? Stock program. I got my stock program, so guess what? Whew, I'm done. Okay, so what's next? So if somebody achieves their stock program, a leader will sit down and talk to them and go, let's talk about your why. Let's talk about where you want to be in 3 to 6 months. Let's talk about where you want to be next year. Does that make sense? Our job is to paint pictures and dream build for people, right? We want to talk to people about the future. We want to talk to people about possibility. Okay? Are you getting some ideas? Who's learning something? Okay, well, here's what's going to happen. Once you learn, we're going to jump up and down. Okay, and we're going to, all that memory is going to go to every part of your body. Okay? So, lack of smart goals. What do? We got to find their motivation. We got to find their why. We got to teach them how to set goals. Is goals a science? Goal setting is a science. There is an art to it, but it's more science. And most people, believe it or not, they set goals. They don't know the science of it. And because of that, they don't believe the goals. If they don't buy into the goals, guess what? They don't pursue it. Okay? We're going to talk about smart goals in a little bit. What about conflicting goals? What's a conflicting goal? Well, the biggest problem, thank you very much, Larry, the biggest problem people have is they don't know exactly what they want. Right? The how, like, why do I want to figure out a how if I don't know what the why is? Okay? So, when we talk about conflicting goals, an example of a conflicting goal might be what? I want to be full-time so I can have financial freedom, so I can spend more time with family. Now, is that a good goal? It is, but it could be conflicting. So if somebody has a conflicting goal, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to say, what does that really mean? Well, you're going to have free time in the morning, but what are you going to do in the evening? See, freedom can be a double-edged sword. It can actually give you that opportunity, but it can also what? Stranglehold you if you don't have the disciplines for time management, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Conflicting goals, ladies and gentlemen, we test our goals. Okay? You should be able to hit your goals within 90% if they're being set as a really smart goal. Okay? I say if you've hit it within 90%, celebrate. If you go over your goal, it was probably too low. Okay? So, what about spousal support? Is that important? Yes. If they don't have spousal support, what is that? A slow death. A slow and painful death. By the way, some of the people in this business today are only in this business because the spouse was involved. Does it always have to happen? No. She recruited you, right? Now you guys are a stronger team together. But I can give you dozens of examples of a very powerful team in this business that wouldn't exist because maybe the lady started and she had uncertainty. She didn't feel significant, and then the husband came involved. He was emotionally supportive. All of a sudden, boom, took off. Can be vice versa too. You know what I mean? So, spousal support. So what's the solution to that? How do you get spousal support? We have an LCE coming up. I'll give you a little hint. We have an LCE coming up. Let me give you a little hint. Get them to the fun parts of the business, right? Get them involved in a recognition night. Get them involved in an LCE where they see all the fun, the excitement, the enthusiasm. Only reason Reno's in this business here today, because his wife went on vacation and she said, I'm supposed to win this prize. Can you pick it up for me? And at the end of the night, he's like, I got to find out more about this business. Okay? All right. Why do people leave? They don't feel what? Valued. That's a sign of what? Significance, appreciation. Okay, so what really can we do? We find better ways to recognize. Okay, so how do we retain people a little bit longer? Okay, the next point here is we have solution, communication. Okay, make some notes on this. How do we communicate with our team? All problems can be almost dissolved or eliminated if we have excellent communication. So, the best in order is face-to-face. The worst is text. No, nothing wrong with text. Certain times you got to push information. Okay? Face-to-face, teleconference, FaceTime, right? Zoom, telephone, and then finally text, Facebook, WhatsApp, Marco Polo, those types of things, okay? So, communication face-to-face always best, but it's not always possible, okay? And by the way, why is face-to-face so much better? It's personable. You can understand them better. You have empathy. Why? Because there's more senses involved. There's visual, auditory, it's all like integrated in there. So you can actually feel rather than just what? Hear. Okay? Or read, right? Exactly. Okay, solution, relationship. So what are we talking about? Doing things outside of regular business activities. Okay? Culturing a friendship, culturing trust. Another solution, empowering beliefs. Did you know, unfortunately, most people that come into this business have a lot of disempowering beliefs? How can you tell? As you listen to what they say and how they say it. Okay, why do most people have disempowering beliefs? Because they turn on the TV in the morning and they get what kind of news? Disempowering, negative news. And then they're driving and they're listening to the news and they're getting what? Disempowering, negative news. People are conditioned to think on the what? The negative. So a lot of times we got to what? Do a little psychological massaging. Okay? So we create empowering beliefs. Later today we're going to talk about incantations so that actually changes the way people think. Another drive-by. Okay? You change the way you think, you change the way you act, to change the way you live. Okay? And so what we really want to do is we want personal beliefs about money, personal beliefs about success, okay? And get people on a path of what? Growth, personal development. Once we said that's one of the highest needs, isn't it? Is to what? Grow and become more. Okay? Spousal involvement. We talked about, how we can get involved in recognition nights, get the husband and wife up together, okay, maybe a little thank you card that goes out. Thank you so much for being such a great husband, supporting your wife doing these dinners, okay, doing a 3-way call, okay.
Take it to a travel club.
Spend $3,000-$4,000 on them on a travel club. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So it's true though. Right? That's why there's overqualification to get the spouse on the travel club. Strong training. Okay? So what's an example of this? This is an example of group training. Are we limited on group training? We are limited, but we're also leveraging our time. That's why we're doing breakouts. That's why you guys are doing assignments. okay? But nothing, the most powerful training is one-on-one role playing. And you need to take on that responsibility. You as a distributor, you as a team leader, you have to role play with your people. And once I said on the phone is the most powerful training tool that you have, okay? Promote the online videos. Do you know all the resources that we have? Okay? Now, you know one of the best things I ever did is I went on YouTube for half a day and I looked at all the videos I had to do in Salad Master. I identified them in things that were customer service related, product knowledge related, and demonstration related, and I put them in alphabetical order, and they're all hyperlinked. So if somebody goes, oh, I need training on this, you know what I do? I just pull up my Word doc, copy, paste, email. Watch this. Call me back. Let's talk about it. Okay? And by the way, who would like to buy that from me? My rate is $1,000 an hour, so multiply that out times $4,000. But there's only, 50 of you? That's $100 each. So we're going to take a break shortly. Okay? I take Apple Pay, by the way, all of you online there. Okay? So, moving right along. Okay, so we need to have strong training, group training, one-on-one training, promoting online videos, getting people on audibles. Biggest weakness that we have in this country today is what? Don't talk about the government. The biggest weakness is what? What is it? Leadership. That's right. Okay? To become a better leader, you need to, Megan, what? Read. You need to study. You need to listen to those audibles. You've got to become more to what? Attract better quality people. You want to recruit up? You got to build yourself up. Okay? And the solution is always follow what? Jackie, what do we follow? We'll get you some paperwork at break time. You got your paperwork? Okay, we want to follow the what? Treat others like you want to be treated. Okay? Do the best you can. Okay? Follow excellence. Be generous. And as I mentioned before, how do you what? Profitably say yes. No stops everything. Right? If a customer says, so you mean to tell me if I don't buy this tomorrow, I'm not going to get the electric skillet? That's not a yes or no. That's a trick question. Okay. With that being said, okay, our goal should be, how do I keep that person for another 30 days? Why quit now when you can quit later? Right? That's an interesting philosophy, isn't it? You're going to quit later, maybe in like 5 or 6 years. Why quit now, quit later? Right? But just think about that. If all you did was grasp onto a concept, how do I retain this team member for another 30 days? And when 30 days is up, what do? Let's renew that contract. How do I renew for another 30 days? Make sense? You with me? The fastest way to grow is close the back door. Okay? You retain, you grow much, much quicker. Now, we're going to have some external music. You guys aren't going to hear it over here. We are back. That's right. I see myself still jumping up and down here. I'm distracted. It is scary indeed. Okay, so are you ready to learn about time management? You know the secret to time management? You can't manage time. You can only manage priorities. How many seconds in a day? 36,400 seconds in a day. Oh, just lost another one. So, here's a couple things about time management, ladies and gentlemen. As a business professional, you have what? Personal activities. You have business activities that are personal, business activities that are team. Now, we have to talk about those individually because there's a time and a place for all these things. You actually have to plan your personal stuff, don't you? Yes. Sometimes you got to say no to some things to say yes to other things, right? Okay? And so you got to take care of your faith and your family, and you got to block those things off. That's important, right? Now, let's talk about business, personal, business, team. That's another dynamic, isn't it? Once you start recruiting people, you go, okay, I got to balance another thing. I got my personal life here, my family, my kids, okay, I got my faith, my community stuff I got going on. I got my Salad Master business. Now I've got other enterprises to run. You with me? Okay, so now I'm spinning plates. How does that all work? Well, if you're weak in the area of time management, this is when you get what? Confused, challenged, frustrated, okay? So what we want to do is we want to talk about some best practices that are going to allow you to be able to turn that into a strength, okay? And by the way, has anyone ever heard of Stephen Covey? Stephen Covey says that if you take 10 minutes a day planning your priorities, you can save 2 hours or more. Does anybody believe that?
Yes.
Would you like to have 2 more hours a day?
Yes.
For 2 more hours a week?
Yes.
Okay, so it kind of makes sense to plan. Now here's an interesting thing. Who here uses a day planner, electronic or handwritten? Yes, no, yeah? You do? Yeah, Franklin? Yeah? What's that? Your handwritten. You know what? Some people actually use a notepad. Okay, and you know, a notepad is something, and it's something is better than nothing. You know, at one point I recommend you all take a time management course, because as you get more stuff to do, how do you get more stuff done? Is you got to plan and prioritize. Okay, that's what needs to happen. And so, years and years ago, people know who Carnegie is, right? He was a steel magnate in the earlier turn of the century here, and at the time, Carnegie commissioned this consultant to come into his organization and evaluate the systems and processes, and to give him feedback of areas of improvement. And so he kind of went through and he spent a week in there, and at the end of the week, he says, everything looks very good, Mr. Carnegie, but, I do have one recommendation. And he said, what is that? And he said, well, what you want to do is that each of your VPs and your management people, you get them on a program where they write down the 6 most important things before they start their shift, before they start, whatever their priorities are for the day. They write down the 6 most important things and they prioritize them. And they make sure that they do the most important thing first, the second most important thing second, the third most, and then if there's anything left over at the end of the day, it gets rolled over to the next day, and they put that 6 list again every day. So at the beginning of their shift, they write down 6 things. At their end of the shift, they evaluate what happened. Each time they tick it off, it's a success. If they didn't get it done, it probably wasn't that important, or maybe they needed to reprioritize. Okay, does that make sense? And so Mr. Carnegie goes, okay, that's excellent. What do I owe you? And he said, what do you think you should pay me? And he gave him a check for $250,000. Now, that was back in, I think, like the the 20s or something like that. So that was like quite a bit of money. It's millions of dollars, like probably, a lot. Okay? But it was just like, wow, 6 most productive things. You just got a multi-million-dollar tip. Hallelujah. Got it? So why do we do that? Question? Who's Carnegie?
No, I actually read about him in Playboy's most greatest people from 1970, this book I found.
1970 Playboys. Okay. If you didn't...
We were friends, and they
A group of friends. They're their friends. Yeah, I get it.
not those guys. But they use an index card, and before they go to bed, they write the 5 things down they want to do the next day.
Yeah.
So when they wake up, it's just on their nightstand, and they just...
Something as simple as that, something as powerful as that, all we do is, too many to-do lists, right? Got to do this, got to do that, and you never get anything done because you're majoring in minors, because your to-do list, at the end, as my day goes on, guess what happens to my to-do list? It gets bigger. It doesn't get shorter. It's impossible to get it all done, okay? So what do? You make a list, you got to prioritize. That first things first, okay? All right, so anyways, what do we need to do? And in the morning, ladies and gentlemen, one of the most important things you want to do, okay, is eat that frog, right? So that thing that you don't want to do it. Because once you do it, it takes a whole load off your back. It empowers you. Whether it be good or bad, it's done, and you deal with the next one. But the worst thing is to have that frog sitting on your head, because I'm telling you, it's like a negativity. It wears you down. So, good old froggy. We'll give him a later. Okay, calendar management. So when we're talking about calendar management, something that we recommend is to have a month at glance. Okay, in my office, I have 3 of them, a year at glance. Okay, but you want to have a month at glance. In your dinner reservation book, do you have a month at glance? How often do you look at it, is a question. Every hour? That's awesome. That's why you're an awesome booker, right? Because you know, when we book shows, we always want to book when? The next available unconfirmed date as we want to book shows. Now, if you're looking at calendar management, so often this happens. People have a good week and then what? They have a soft week. And then they have a good week and they have soft week. If you're kind of looking at this week, next week, the week after, because that's how you manage your business, right? When you're looking at that calendar, you go, there's pressure, there's internal, pressure put on side of you going, wow, I got to fill out that date. Friday's not confirmed. We got the cookathon happening then. Month at glance is money. You got to look at it in the morning. You got to look at it in the evening. You got to know shows that are unconfirmed. You got to, oh wow, I didn't realize I got that family event coming up on Saturday, and you're not going to unconsciously go, yeah, sure, Saturday sounds good, let's book it. Right? Planning your personal time. Now, you've got a team of people. How in the world do you manage your team of people when you have 10 recruits out there? How do you manage that activity? Some are brand new. Some are fragile. Right? Some of them need their hand holding. Some of them may have blanked 4 or 5 shows. So how do you manage all that? CRM and your cooking show coordinator. Your cooking show coordinator, get them to take a picture of the board, text it to you. You with me? And then you put those shows on the calendar. If they're confirmed, put a dot on them. If they're done, tick them off. Okay? So you can actually, if you have an office in your room, your home, whatever, okay? You should have seen my office when I first, it was one of those Costco tables. Okay? Had my answering machine, my dot matrix printer, okay? And that's dating myself, right? Dot matrix printer. But I was in business. I just had a little chair, Costco table, and I had my month of glance in front of me. And that drove my daily activity. And so, anyways, the next thing you want to do with calendar management is close each week. And you can do reports on CM in this, or you can do CRM, or you can do it on your dinner reservation book. When you look at your dinner reservation book, it has those numbers. We talked about this when we introduced the booking program. Okay? How many dinners you book, how many dinners you cook, how many sales you make, what's your sales volume, how many people invited to open house, how many people came to open house. You with me? Those are how we manage the law of averages. It usually takes about 90 days to actually have a back testing of how strong your numbers are. When you're brand new in the business, the numbers can be like this, okay? So, but if you get 90 days, you can get pretty good numbers going. Okay, I know that 40% of my dinners cancel, right? I know that I'm closing 1 in 3. Okay? Why? Because those numbers don't lie. So if I get those numbers, I can use that to make better projections on how to set my goals. And we're going to talk about that later. Now you're smiling. That is the science of goals. That's right. So calendar management, close off each week so you find out what was good, what do I need to improve on. Okay? Phone day. Insurance industry really drives this. Okay, one day you don't do presentations. One day is totally dedicated to getting yourself booked up for the week. And what day of the week usually is that probably best? Monday, start of the week. Okay? Sometimes it's Sunday afternoon. Believe it or not, some of the best times to catch people is when? Sunday afternoon. Okay? So, whatever your phone day is, you need to actually be able to get that so that you can be productive for the week. You can find out what your team is doing. You can find out what unconfirmed shows are going on, et cetera, et cetera. You can block off those time slots in your calendar. Now, you need to also block off time every day to book shows. Okay? Now, it might be an hour, might be 2 hours, depending on what level of activity you are in the business. Bless you. But you need to have time where you get telephone time, and you need to block that time off. Okay? When we're communicating with people, we get multiple, whatever, it might be their Instagram handle or their Twitter or whatever. Like you want to get as many ways as possible to communicate with people, and you want to find the best time to catch them at home. Cora, do you like making 3 to 4 phone calls to actually connect with somebody? You like making 3 to 4 phone calls to connect with one person? How would you like to make 2 calls to connect with one person? Right? Less is better, right? Less effort for more results. Find out what the best time to communicate with them, because everybody's different. Okay? Some people don't answer their phone until this time or this time. Okay? Confirming and obligating appointments. I'm not going to talk about this. We talked about this before, the 3 promises. I'll be there on time, bring lots of food. Okay, promise me what? Keep the date. Okay, we have to train that. By the way, if you're doing group dinners, you have to train that to your new people because they're going to get disappointed real fast on last minute cancellations. You gotta confirm, you gotta commit, you gotta obligate. Okay, double booking, triple booking appointments. Who does double book? I know May double books. In fact, she was just calling today. She goes, send me a text. Who do you think I should flip my show to on Friday? We're going to talk about rules on flipping. Okay? But statistics will show that the person that double books unconfirmed appointments always has better time management control. Does anyone have insurance on their car? Does anyone have insurance on their home? Does anyone have life insurance? That's illegal. Sorry, you're going to have to get life insurance. No, I mean health insurance. Okay. So we all have insurances, right? You know what the number one insurance for our business is? Double book. If we know that 50% of first generation dinners will reschedule and 30% or 35% of second generation shows will reschedule, what do we need to do? Put the odds in our favor so we can control our time. Now, what happens if both dinners go off?
Take the best one and flip the other one to the other.
You flip the unqualified dinner, right?
Well,
Just kidding. You never flip an unqualified dinner, but you take the best dinner. So here's the beauty. Do you want to try to make cream? Do you like to make butter out of cream or butter out of milk? Sometimes people go, my closing average is only 25%. Maybe you should double book. And then that way you can take the A dinners rather than the B and C dinners. Right? Become the best booker. That's why I said, find the best booker in your office, go model what they're doing, and start copying some of that stuff. Because the best bookers always win. Okay? Now, what happens when you are double booked and both dinners go on? How do you flip a show? Does anyone know how to flip a show? Yes. You do? There is a best practice we recommend. Don't call the hostess 3 days before and say, hey, somebody else is going to cook the show. Rule number one, you flip the dinner when? The day of the dinner. Why? If you're double booked, that other dinner can cancel. You can't give away that dinner and say, hey, I want my dinner back. Okay, it doesn't work like that, right? So you can have somebody on standby. Okay, say, you know what, I might be overbooked on Friday. Okay, I'll confirm it up and I'll shoot you a text on Thursday to let you know. And Friday, for sure, I'll flip it off. So they're on standby. Okay. Third thing is, don't flip an unqualified dinner is rule number one. Right, do unto others, the golden rule. On the day of the dinner, before the show, you have to call and the new cook has to call. You with me? Okay, why? Because you made a promise. You're going to be there on time, bring lots of food, have fun. Please keep the date. So how do you frame this? When I call the hostess to say somebody else is going to come cook, a stranger's going to come into my home, somebody I don't know, right? So I want to frame it as a what? Great news. Okay, so Mary, I just wanted to let you know I've got some good news and not bad. Good news and great news. I've got some good news and great news. So the good news is the show, we're still going to come cook your dinner. We got all the food ready. We're so excited. You want to know the great news? I got a better looking chef, okay, coming to do your show. All right. Now, I just wanted to let you know something personal came up. Now, I'm not going to say, you know what, a better quality show came up. I deprioritized you because, no. What you say is, I had something personal come up, okay, that was unanticipated, okay, which I have to take care of. I wanted to thank you in advance for keeping your date because I still get credit for that. I'm going to give you a call tomorrow, make sure everything went perfect, okay? Got that? Now, don't call her tomorrow and say, hey, were they okay? Is there any problems? Right? We don't elicit the negative, right? We always plan for the positive. So we flip it the day of the dinner. We call the hostess when? Close enough to the dinner so she's not going to cancel. That's really the reality. It's like, oh, they already got the food ready. You know, they can't cancel. The show must go on. And then you get the chef to call after you call. So you say, hey, I'm going to give the hostess a call in the next hour. Do me a favor, call her after an hour. Right? So you want to connect with her before that call comes. And then if you got the show, you say, hey, I just want to introduce myself. I'm your chef. So excited. Look forward to seeing you. I'll be there on time, blah, blah, blah. Right? Okay. Questions? You do not flip a show to somebody that cannot do a solo show. Why? You're laughing. Okay? Can't flip a show to a booking partner. Can't flip a show to a person on their fast start. Why? Because you got to pay them. You got to pay a minimum 10%. Okay? You can't go, well, you're at 10%. We're going to take 5% for the flip fee. And then, actually, because you're only getting that, you're going to split it with the other person. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay? If somebody's taking a flip, they got to be able to do a solo show. Period. Any questions? Didn't think so. All right. Next thing. Calendar management. Calendar management. Prospecting. Simple formula. Book 2 shows 2 to 3 days a week. That's the part-time formula for excellence. Book 2 shows 2 to 3 days a week. Full-time is what? Book 4 to 6 shows. Book 2 shows 4 to 6 days a week. Now, why did I say 4 to 6? Because it really depends. Do I have team members that I have to support? Right? Depends on what my goals are. And my other personal goals are right there. So you heard that Fred guy that talked about doing $107,000. What was his mantra? 4 shows a week, right? Book 2, 4 times a week. So I can cook 4 times a week. And he got lucky. Okay? Sometimes that happens. So what we want to do is we want to actually start incorporating store booking and salad cutting before we need to know how to do it. Why? Because there's a learning curve with everything, isn't it? So if I don't have any dinners and I got to go learn how to salad cut, it's going to take me some time and it's going to be a grind. My dinner's going to start canceling and it's going to get frustrating. Blah, blah, blah. So you train before you need to know it. Okay? Now, let's talk about follow-up systems. And now some of this information's a little bit dry. Okay? But it's important. This is business management. And if you're doing it, congratulations. If you're doing all of it, wonderful. But are your people doing it? Because what we're doing is we're professional people builders, aren't we? Okay? So, what's your follow-up system? Number 1, follow up until. What does that mean, follow up until? Until they put you on block call and it goes right to voicemail? Till they call block me. Okay, so there's under 2 reasons. 1, until they cannot give any more referrals, right? Or until... right? The quality of the referrals are not desirable. One of those 2. So you keep following up. Now, when we follow up people, it's always give, receive. It's not take, take. You with me? So if you want to be a great booker, you're always thinking about what can I give to you? The easiest thing you can give is knowledge and recommendations. And usually it's about food or health. So when you're calling back, you're calling to give first. And then once you give, naturally they're going to want to receive. Okay? So we follow up until. Now, if you've heard the saying, you can't beat a dead horse, right? So if somebody's not giving you referrals, please don't keep on beating them up. Okay? Like you can only spend your time so much. Just go to greener pastures, find somebody new. Okay? Text templates. Who's using text templates? Okay, very good. So there's text templates for warm market, initial contact, referral bookings, confirming bookings, no response bookings, salad cut bookings, thank yous, open house follow-ups, right? So there's text templates for all of that stuff. Okay, there's text templates we're now creating right now for social media surveys. Okay, for lead generation. So there's stuff that we're experimenting with scripting. So use the scripts, use the text templates. Thank you text. Who sends a thank you text to all their customers? Who sends a thank you letter to all their customers? Okay, write that down. If you want to separate yourself from all the noise out there, it's a 56-cent stamp. You can buy a thank you card for $1. 50 cents if you want to get a stack of them from Amazon or something like that, right? So for $1.50, I can make a memory. Okay? So you can cook the greatest meal in the world. You know what people remember? How you make them feel. Okay? And I remember so many times when I'd go into people's home, right? And I'd see that handwritten note. By the way, a handwritten note costs you what? Just a little bit of ink and some time, right? And a stamp. That's it. But I'd see that handwritten note on the refrigerator with a magnet. Okay? And you know what? When you call them and they say, by the way, thank you so much for your consideration. How does that make you feel? That I feel great because I am remembered. I feel great because they're acknowledging and appreciating what I did and I made them feel special. There's a lot of people selling stuff out there. Okay? You want to be separated as a professional. Professionals do the little things. I'm going to challenge you right now. I don't do this personally because I don't really do much for cooking. But when I was cooking, I would spend time every day writing notes. And you know what? Sometimes people would cancel a show, but they still got my note. That's okay, isn't it? You do the right things. You just keep on doing the right things long enough, and you get lucky. All right? Now, DAS call. You know what the DAS call? Day after show. What if they don't answer? Leave a voice message, thank them, show your appreciation. Okay? Callbacks. By the way, who does callbacks? We call them courtesy visits. Okay? Callbacks, ladies and gentlemen, not everybody's going to buy the first time. Sometimes people need to see it a second or third time. And that's why it's so important if somebody's on the fence, give them an instant booking option of inviting one other health-conscious couple over to their home so you go back to cook for them again. So they have a chance to think about it. You can expose the product to them again. If you can't do that, you invite them to the open house or cooking class. Can't do that, go visit them at month-end close. Why month-end close? Contest. Why month-end close? Promotional incentive or whatever it might be. Okay? I just tell people, listen, we got some great incentives, some things I didn't show to you last time. When can we get together for 15 minutes so I can go over those things with you? Make sense? Now, you want to be so busy you don't have time to do callbacks and courtesy visits. Okay? But, you know, that is part of the business that you want to do some, what do you call it? Time management stuff. Day off. Plan your work, plan your play, okay? And if your show reschedules, what do you do that night? Thank you. Okay? If your show reschedules, you go, yeah, I'm going to the movies. All right? Show reschedule, what are you going to do? Hang out in the backyard and drink beer. What are you going to do? You're going to turn that into another opportunity is what you're going to do. If you're blocked to work, what do you do? Work. If you're blocked to play, what do you do? Okay. Unless, you know, play reschedules. That's a joke. My play rescheduled. What am I going to do? Okay. So anyways, I've got the next couple pages here. Okay. This is fun. We got 15 more minutes. We're going to take a break. So let's work through this one. Part-time, full-time schedules. You like this? So we're going to start with part-time schedule. So every day, Monday to Friday, this is an example, okay, is what? J-O-B. Okay? Whatever time you start the day. It might be 6, might be 8, whatever. Okay? Now, what do you do while you're driving? Listen to audibles. Oh, you're doing the ice call. Or you listen to ice call recording, right? Okay. By the way, did you like the ice call on Monday? What was I talking about? Yeah, I recognize the voice. Yeah. Okay. Smart goals. We're going to be reviewing that. So that's how important it is. Okay. And so, you know what? At lunch hour, I got a JLB job. So what am I doing at lunch hour? Sleeping. So maybe you're sleeping. Great. I sleep on my lunch hour because I cooked last night. Okay. I go, you can confirm shows, can't you? Now, I know some people go, no, not on my lunch hour. I'm gonna confirm shows on the boss's time. I'm going to confirm shows on company time, and then I'm going to do something else, right? Anyways, so maybe this is a suggestion. You confirm dinners, and then you're coming to the open house. What do? You pick up your people. Great. What do? You listen to something that's inspiring, something that's motivating, something that's educational, okay? Tuesday, what do we do? Okay, well, maybe Tuesday night I'm on the phone. I'm confirming shows, okay? Maybe that's my day that I'm locking down the week. Okay, on Wednesday, what's an example? Well, I'm making sure I register all my shows on CRM, great, and I'm cooking tonight, or maybe I'm not cooking, but I've got new recruits going into training, so maybe I'll pop by and participate in the training. Okay, and by the way, if you go, I already been to basic training, why do I need to do basic training? You can train to train, because the most money you make is what? Being a great trainer and developing people, right? So why not learn that craft? Why not contribute? Why not participate? Okay? But you can also go out, if you're not cooking, you can be what? Booking, riding, right? Remember, your money zone is 5 to 10 in the evening. Brian Tracy says from 9 to 5 you make a living. From 5 to 9 you earn your lifestyle. Okay, so that's your money zone. So you're not going to go, okay, well, it's 5 o'clock, so let me do my CRM and let me do my paperwork and let me watch my videos, let me do my assignments, let me do my coaching goals. Find your off time so you can be productive in your money time. Most money you're going to make is in the evenings on weekdays, okay? Thursdays, okay, what are we going to do? Well, I got more shows, got to register those. And Thursday night is family night, bless you. So what do we do on family night? Well, we all have dinner together, and then we play board games, okay? The kids go to bed, and the wife and I, we drink some wine right by the firelight. Isn't that nice, family night? Or maybe you like fall asleep watching Netflix. I don't know, okay? Anyways, okay, so Friday, this is back to what? This is business as usual, okay? I got an order last night, yes, okay? And I'm going to fax that in by noon. And then Friday night, thank God it's Friday, I'm out there cooking again. Now Saturday, I can go team prospecting. Okay, what if I only have one team member and they're working their warm market and they don't need to prospect? Go team, you know what? Take them by the hand. Say, you know what? Let's go prospecting. Oh, but I already have a dinner later. Great, we'll go together. Okay, and just go out. Why do you do that? Because they're going to learn the skill so that when they need to do it, they're already what? They're already trained. Okay, so. You know, you cook, prospect. By the way, what's the best way to prospect? Drop off 2 salads before your dinner. Best way to prospect because it's sustainable. You're just in the neighborhood and you can use the name of the neighbor. Now, what if you say, oh, Filipino, like, you know, how do I cook for Filipino? Because every Filipino lives next door to a Filipino. So you go to the hostess's home early and say, Tita, I need your help. What's a Filipino in the area so I can deliver free pancit? Okay, and guess what? You go deliver a couple salads or pancits to the neighbor. It's the same thing, ladies and gentlemen, because you're there anyways, right? Now, what do you do on Sunday? Sleep in. Go to church. Okay? And then what do? Lie on the couch. Okay, for an hour only, and then boom, you got a dinner that night. Okay? So maybe Sunday night's your flaming night. So this is just an example, ladies and gentlemen. Let's flip the page here, talk about our full-time schedule. Okay. Rick Perkins, my mentor that trained me in this business, he said, James, there's 2 things you do when you're working full-time. Number 1, when you get up, you get out of bed, and you do something. He goes, don't get up, go to the bathroom, and crawl back into bed. No. Okay, because you're in your own business and that's easy to do, don't you? Okay, don't you? Don't you? No, I don't you. Okay, so get up, what do? Stay up. Yeah, get out of bed, and when you get out of bed, what do? Do something, okay? So you're do something, by the way, if you listen to most successful people on the planet, they always have morning rituals of some sort, right? Usually their morning rituals have to do with prayer, meditation, exercise, of some sort, maybe journaling, okay? I'm not suggesting you do that, but you know, a lot of successful people do that. So you may want to consider that, blocking off personal time, whether it be 30 minutes, an hour of power, whatever it is, okay? But you know what, once you get on that, the last thing you want to be doing is looking at your Facebook when you get up, or checking your texts. It's the worst thing you do, okay? So, anyways. There can be, but I'll tell you something. If you want to run the marathon of life, I recommend you got to fill your cup up so you can overflow. Because what can happen is, especially when you get sucked into full time, I could work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week if I wanted to. I could. That's how you can get sucked in so easily. So you have to do some prioritization, because if you feel good, guess what happens? You can help others feel good. If what you're lacking, you can't give. So fill your cup up first. And yes, by the way, Tina, you can get a lot of business on social media. I'm not dissing social media. Don't get me wrong.
No,
okay.
it's true. That's what happens to me. I look at my text and then I just start going.
You get distracted. Element of distraction. Exactly. Okay. And so what we have here is we want to block off time to roll call our team. Does that make sense? If you're a team leader, if you have 1 or 10, 20, doesn't matter, people, you have to block off time daily where you're going to be communicating with your team. Don't expect your dealer to do it. Don't rely on the cooking show coordinator, the trainer, whatever. You take personal responsibility for your own business, okay? Then we got our open house, great, whatever. You got personal time. When I was full-time in this business, I literally played tennis and mountain biked almost every day. Yeah, how could you do that? Because there's a lot of free time. You just got to block it. Okay, but you got to also block the time to do what? Right? Talk to people. Okay? The only time you make money is you're face-to-face, belly-to-belly with prospective recruits or prospective customers. So everything you do, you have to ask yourself, WIM. What does WIM mean? Will it make me money? Right? And WMM? M? What matters most? Right? I just made that up, I think. Okay. So, all right, full-time schedule, a lot of freedom in there. Okay. We got day planning, right? We plan. We got, oh, wow, we blocked some time in there. I'm going to plan my day, got my personal time, going to go to the gym. Fantastic. I'm going to go salad cut. Now, people don't eat salad in the morning, do they, Mario? People eat salad for morning, evening. They eat salad anytime you ask them, right? Okay. So, we follow up our booking. So, again, you're blocking off time every day to do what? Follow up customers. Okay? Prospect. All right, your money zone is when? In the evening, 5 to 9 on the weekends. Now, or weekdays. Now, that does not mean that you can't cook during the weekdays. Okay, you can also cook, but generally you're going to do more cooking shows in the evening unless you're in the retired market, nurses. Okay? You've got maybe about 25-30% of your market dinners can be prospective lunches on the weekdays. Now, so you got your day off, great. You do team prospecting on the weekend, cook lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner. How early can you do a show? According to Chanel Telshaw, 6 a.m. in the morning. Okay? What's the record? I'm only stating this because we know what's possible. What's the record of the most dinners cooked in a day? 8. 8 dinners. Okay? 6 dinners is insanity. 7 dinners is like, I think, it's beyond insanity. Okay, psychosis. Okay. 8 dinners, I don't know. That's beyond medication, right? But what we have is you can do a show literally 10 o'clock in the morning. That's sustainable, isn't it? 10 o'clock is sustainable, right? And you book your shows 3 to 4 hours out, depending on how close they are together. Okay. Now, Mario has a great strategy. He actually books 2 shows in the dinner time, early sitting and late sitting. Okay, so it might be 5 and 7. So if the 5 reschedules, he's still cooking a dinner, right? Sometimes he'll call him up and roll it back to 6. Okay, but you can, if you have a 7 o'clock, what do? You drop off salads in the neighborhood. Okay, so a little bit of time management technique. Let's kind of go through a couple things. All right, if you're full time, plan to cook 4 to 5 shows, 4 to 6 shows consistently. When you're dealing with paperwork, handle it once. You know, the easiest way is to scan it and file it. Okay, too much hard copy paperwork floating around these days. You know, time management for dealing with paper is touch it once, read it, file it, or throw it away. Don't put it into too many piles. None of you are allowed in my office, okay? All right? None of you are allowed to even look in my office, okay? Use a day planner system, okay? And establish regular working hours. So you know what? If this is my business, okay, my day starts at 10 o'clock and it goes to whatever. Might start at 10 and it might go to 10 5 days a week. By the way, the average business person, how much time do they put in their business? Does anyone know? A week, sorry. 62. 62. The average business person puts 62 hours a week in their business. Okay. The average, and by the way, even as a distributor, you make more than the average business person will make. Okay. You really potentially can make a lot more. So there's no reason why you can't put 40, 50 hours a week into a business if you want to build a business. Now, if you're just looking at this as a part-time hobby, that's totally different. Okay. But we're on the full-time schedule here now. Multiply the weekends. When I was in this business, I was a weekend warrior because I did only group dinners. Okay? So it was like I would hit the ground running. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Boom. Right? Double book your appointments. Flip the rest. Book 2, cook 1 5 times a week, and stay focused on your goals. Did you learn something? Yes. Okay. Are you excited? Yes. The money we make, you're going to statistically make more money from making calls than taking calls. You with me? Okay, a lot of times when I'm training a new person, I know that I've got 3 shows on my team tonight, right? Okay, and I know what time, I know where they're at. Why? Because every dinner is $1. Now your closing rate, you know, for your team might be $800, it might be $1,000, it might be $1,200, but every show is money, okay? And so you got to pay attention to the money. Where your focus flows, right? That's where your money goes, okay? So focus on the money and everything is funny. So, I'm getting funny myself here. Okay, so.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or...
It happens, okay? I'll turn my phone off here next time. All right, so when people don't call you, what do? Text them, how's your show going? Right? You got alarm set on, right? Because you're a time management specialist. You got that alarm. It's like, oh, okay, Mitzi didn't call me. 3 hour. Ba-ding. Hey, Mitzi, how you doing? Now, you still at your show? Still at my show. It started late. Where are you at? Oh, we're just closing the podcast. Perfect. I'm on standby. I'm not going to sleep till you call me. Right? So what I'm doing is I'm inducing the habit. Call out, people call you, especially when they're new. Okay? Why do people not call you? They're disappointed, they're ashamed, they're frustrated, they don't want to let you down, whatever, okay? So the purpose of the phone call is not a phone close. You got it? What's the purpose of the phone call?
Review, training.
Both. All of the above, right? It's team communication is what it is. So we got to call to register the dinner. Now, what if you are fully trained and you got a brand new recruit on your show? Are you going to call to register your show? Yes. Who are you going to call? Your consultant. You should call up, right? You're going to call your distributor. You're going to call who? Your dealer. Okay? Reno calls me still. I'm like, not again. No, just kidding. No, but you know, I've been at shows before and I'm just like, okay, I got to call. My wife never answers the phone anyway, so I'll call her, right? And it's like, beep, and it's like, did you hear that? And so why do we do that? Because we do that to duplicate a behavior, right? A behavior of success. Because what we want to do, if there's a problem, when do we want to know about it? Now or later? Now. So if there's a weakness in training where somebody needs improvement, when do we want to know about it? After they've done 10 shows or now, right? So you want to get that immediate feedback. So the purpose of the telephone close, the management closing call, is to communicate with your team. So series of questions. First question is what? Did you have? How did the food come out, right? So we started off with a soft topic. You know, oh, I burnt the cake. Hey, congratulations, I still burned the cake today. How much of the demo did you do? So if somebody's in their fast start, we're expecting them to do what? Progressive parts of the demonstration, right? Oh, I didn't do the demo. Oh, okay, all right, let me make a note of that. We'll have a conversation a little bit later. Maybe it's encouragement, maybe it's a little bit of motivation, maybe it's a little carrot when they go solo. How many dinners did you book? None. How many referrals you got? 10. So we go all the way down the line and we look for the area of what? Weakness. And then we can role play and train that a little bit later, because the most important thing in this game, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be a leader, is to train people to move from their warm market to booking referral bookings. And what's the quickest way to do that is the day after the show call. Okay, and so if you've had communication with the people and you know what they did right and what they need to improve on, guess what you're having a conversation on? Areas of improvement. And that's the most important thing. Okay, so are they coming down to the open house? You know what a lot of times I hear? I don't know. Let me ask. Right, so we know that we need to work on that one. What else do we have? Did you tell them about the stock program, an opportunity to get a second set? To earn a second set for free? Yes or no? We go through all those little checkpoints. Did they like the cookware? Yes. Are they interested in getting a set? What size set? Did you talk about the first call special? What's the gift? What's the trading gift? We go all the way down to, great, have you done the paperwork? You see what I'm saying? And so that's very, very linear in how that works. And so, any questions on that?
No, sir.
Are you going to use it?
Yes.
Just let them know if you got them on speaker before you start.
Oh, that's just great. Let me get you talking to my boss on speaker. And then they start asking questions. No. So there is a proper way to execute a group close. And sometimes, by the way, it is good to put it on speaker, but not at the beginning part of the call. because you're having a conversation with them for training purposes. Sometimes you might go, how are they on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being super hot and like 1 being dead, right? Where are they? They just heard that. Okay, thank you. There is a law in the state of California. You do study law, right? If you're recording somebody or somebody's listening to the conversation, you have to let them know at the beginning of the conversation. Sorry, I just incriminated you. All right, moving right along. So this is a training tool, right? You like it? Yes. All right. Are you going to use it? Yes. When? Now. Next time you take a call, right? Okay. This is my favorite part. We talked about this on the ICE call, but guess what? The ICE call has now been re-recorded over, so you can't listen to it again. It's about SMART goals. What does SMART stand for? Okay, do I have to talk about this? No. Okay, but here's what I'm going to ask you, okay? What do you want? Why do you want it? What are you going to do to get it? That's it. That's the science of it, right? And the more specific you can get on it, the more you can emotionalize it. And that really, there's no hocus pocus on this. If you really, really want something bad enough, you have to describe it so that you can see it. If you can get a movie of it, if you can visualize it, if you can get a picture of it, it's going to be more powerful. That's it. Words are ambiguous. Our brain remembers pictures and images. So you just got to be able to create that image, okay, in the mind's eye. So when you discover what you want, you have to ask yourself, do I really want it? Because a lot of times it's like, well, you know, I really don't need that, but do you want it? Well, kind of. Well, what do you really want? And it's quite interesting because, you know, sometimes you've got to make a list of the 100 things you'd like to acquire, do, become, or meet before you die. And all of a sudden you get that list, it's almost like the to-do list, and you start looking at it and you go, okay, what's most important? ABC, 1, 2, 3. Right? And you prioritize it. And you go, you know what? I really want that. Why do you want it? That's the test, right? Because it gets down to the driver. Okay? So, we want to get more specific. If it's a car, what do we want? Make, model, color. There was a lady that she came out of the gates, second year as a dealer. Okay? And this is Catherine Lawrence, became a master dealer. How did that happen? She went on stage and talked about something that really got her excited, something that she really wanted, and that's a motorhome for her family. And she described it to the exact everything specs. She knew exactly how much it was going to cost and everything. And I was like blown away impressed. I was like, I kind of thought about getting a motorhome, but then I thought, where am I going to park it? And and that really didn't drive me. Like we were driving one time to Vegas, and I was like, man, I wish I had a motorhome so I could pull over and cook some Salad Master food, maybe take a power nap. Right? But like, where would I park it? So I didn't really want it. But she wanted it so bad, she painted all these pictures, and all of a sudden I was like, she got me excited. Right? So what do you really want? And can you break it down? And what do we break it down to? Why? Well, we know what we want, then why we want it. That's the driver behind it, that test that we really want it. But when we break it down into this, from the specific to the measurable, what are we really basing it on? Bookings. Over what time frame? That's it. Okay, because what's going to happen is you're going to have a dinner hold up and you're going to have a dinner dollar average. And all you do is you make X amount of money per dinner and you divide it by the total amount. Does that make sense? So when the science behind crafting your goals is you got to know your dinner dollar average. Okay, now when I was first in this business, my dinner dollar average was good or bad? Bad. It was ugly. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad, it was ugly. Okay? And so, you know what? I still set my goals. And I go back, I have my dinner reservation book from my very first year, and I look at it and I see it from going from ugly to almost acceptable. No, to ugly to substandard, to poor, to bad, to almost half decent, to borderline acceptable. And it kind of moved up, and it motivated me. I was a motivated bad person. I was... but it was motivating to see improve and grow. Does that make sense? All right, so measurable. Dinner dollar average, I recommend if you don't know, use $1,000 a dinner. Because what is that? That's a closing of 1 in 3.5. Okay? And so if you're closing 1 in 3 and you're delivering, say, for example, 80%, that's not like super high numbers, but that's acceptable, right? Acceptable or not? Okay, in the Happy Cooking office last year, our dinner dollar average of delivered business was $1,429. How do I know it? It's my business. I need to know it, right? Okay, and I also know the percentage of what we earned on every show that was run in the office. Okay, just as you are a distributor, just as you have one recruit, the same thing applies. But if you're the only person, it incorporated, sole proprietor, I cook, I make money. I don't cook, I don't make money. If you're setting goals just on personal sales, you need to identify your what? Dinner dollar average. Go back 90 days, find that out. And break it down to what? How many dinners do I need to book to cook a dinner? How many dinners do I need to cook to make that sale? How much do I make on the average sale? And you divide it into the total amount. It's all about bookings over what? Day, week, month. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't mean to be pounding you too hard on this, but this is the stuff that we need to get really good at and teach our people to it, because the people believe it, they're self-motivated. But if people are shooting ambiguous goals, BMIB's coming, I'm going to do 30-30. Question is why? I'm bored. I need to achieve. I need the significance, right? All those human needs we talked about before. Okay, next, achievable. Does it stretch you? Okay. Has it been done before by others? Just basically duplicate the same process. Needs to be reviewed. How often? Right? In the morning, in the evening. It's got to make an impression on your nervous system. See, if you review it in the morning, in the evening, and you wake up in the morning, you don't think about it, and it's the first thing on your mind, you're doing the right thing. Because you're going to get self-motivated. Everything you do that day is going to happen on purpose, and it's going to prioritize towards you reaching your goals rather than things letting it happen. You know what letting it happen is? Got a text, hey, what are you doing? Oh, not much. You want to do it? Sure, let's go. That's letting it happen rather than being on purpose, okay? So if you're worth it, plan it, okay? Review it, get it in your mind, and make sure it's a time. Now, there's no such thing as a unrealistic goal. Have you heard that before? The biggest sin that most people have is not what? Setting their goals big enough. Because if you set your goals big enough, you get uncomfortable and you have to start thinking creatively on other ways of achieving them because you're limited to what you can do personally. Okay? So there's no limits to resources, only resourcefulness. So you got to become a little bit more resourceful. But there is such a thing as an unrealistic timeline. Right? Can you make $1 million a year in this business? Sure you can. Right? But you're not going to do it in your first year. It's not going to happen. Right? So what you got to do is you got to put a timeline, you got to work it backwards. Okay? So, and then the bottom line is once you have that plan, what do you do? Execute. And what do you do? Execute is such an executioner word, right? You do it. That's it, right? Okay? And we've got a BMIB coming up, don't we, ladies and gentlemen? Excited? Okay, we're going to go through a goal process. I want you at home to go through this with me. Okay, a little battery's dying. Welcome. Glad you can make it. Glad you can make it. Hey, glad you can make it. Okay, so when we're going through this goal, and I'm going to ask for full participation. I'm going to ask for rapid participation because I've got some really good stuff I want to get through today, and if we don't get through it, we're not going to do it. Okay, we want to be done by 20 after 9 so that we can get you all graduated, take some pictures. Sounds good? So I've got less than an hour to power through this stuff. All right, now, when I say this month, what I'm talking about is next month. Okay, September. So, how much will I earn? Not how much am I going to try. What's the word? Will. I will has power. Okay, it's in the first person and it's in the affirmative. Okay, so if you want to have potent goals, not impotent, but potent goals, you need to state them in the positive and the affirmative. So, how much will I earn this month? Month of September. 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 8,000, 10,000. What are you going to earn? Okay? By the way, you know how you make more money? Okay, cook more. You can cook more. You can recruit more. Okay, which is, by the way, it's indirectly cooking more, isn't it? Okay, you can cook more, you can what? Improve your closing rate, okay, and you can also sell what? More chef sets, right? That's an easy way, right? Sell bigger sets. So that's how you do. You cook more, right? You improve your closing rate for you and your team, and you sell bigger sets. Okay, so how much you want to earn? Work it backwards. How much will I have to sell to earn that amount? Now, what you need to do is you take your income and you divide it by your commission level. Okay? By the way, if we're using 15%, most of you are probably a little bit higher than that. Some of you are at 15, a lot of you are at 20, some of you are at 25. Use whatever commission level you're at. Say, for example, the example here is it says I want to earn $2,000. I make 15% commission. I take $2,000, I divide by the commission rate, and it equals how much sales volume I need to sell. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You with me? Yes. Okay, so fill it out. Next, is it how many dinners do I need to cook to accomplish this goal? So I'll take the total sales amount and then I'm going to divide it by my dinner dollar average. Now, if you don't know your dinner dollar average, okay, I say use $1,000 to be conservative. Okay? And ultimately, what's going to happen? It means this is how many shows I need to what? Cook. And what does that mean? I have to double that on the amount of dinners to book. Okay? Now, some of you have a 60% holdup, so maybe you don't have to double it. That's fine, but just to keep it simple, double it. So if I need to cook 12 shows in a month, I need to do what? Book 24 in a month, which means I need to do what in a week? I need to book 6 a week. So I need to do what? 2 a day, 3 days a week. Does that make sense? So I'm breaking it down. That's how I'm talking about my measurable goal. Okay? Next question, am I cooking all the dinners I'd like to? If not, what means of prospecting are you willing to do? Because you got to do more to get more, don't you? Okay? So I'm going to salad cut. I don't like salad cutting. Okay? Well, I'm going to store book. I don't like store booking. Okay? Well, I'm going to deliver pen zip. I don't like pen zip doing. I'm going to network. I don't like, I'm going to tell you something about networking. There's this lady in Medford, Oregon, and she's a millionaire. And I don't know why she's working for John Robinson. I don't have a clue. But I guess maybe she was bored and Salamester filled some of her human needs. Okay? So she went there and she did nothing for 90 days. She just watched. And she goes, I don't like to do the salad cutting thing. I used to work for Bill Gates. I was a VP, blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. And so she goes out, she goes, I'm going to just network. I'm going to go into businesses and talk to people. And she did that for 90 days. And guess what? She cooked very little. She cooked like maybe a couple dinners a month. She cooked very little. But what she did is she developed what? Relationships, and she developed her skill. And now she's averaging 3 to 4 sets a week. And her closing rate is like 70 to 80%. Ridiculous, right? Yeah. Anyone watch Showtime Billions? No?
What is it?
Billions? Yeah, it's good. Paul Giamatti. I won't digress. Okay, back to what we're focusing at here. Okay, so you find a way to prospect, get good at one way, but learn 3 ways. Okay, you always need to have 3 ways of booking dinners. There's always warm market. And by the way, when you recruit a booking partner, that's warm market. There's referrals, and then there's a prospecting. Find that one way. You're good at gym booking, great. There's strength and weaknesses to all things. I love salad cutting because I can choose where I want to cook. And if you get good at it, and I know you guys are amazing at salad cutting, you guys will go out and book 20, 30 shows in a day, right? How many shows did you book on last salad extravaganza for your team? She booked 24 shows in one day from salad cutting. I think that's worth a round of applause, yeah? One day. No, that's shows booked. That's not like salads cut, that's shows booked. Plus you helped your team, right? So that's what's possible. Plus your team booked more. It's always good to know when your team books more than you. Okay, back to business here. How many times a week am I committed to using this activity?
3.
Good. If it's part-time, 3 is a good number. Okay, how many recruits am I going to bring in this month? Now, some people don't recruit because they don't have a reason why to recruit. Some people go, oh, recruiting equals work. Some people say, oh, recruiting means I cut my commission back because I only make 10% if I'm training them. Right? You know how you get really good is you train frontline people to train your recruits. Okay? So here's an example. I did a dinner. You're welcome. Thank you. You can clap. I cooked on Monday night. I didn't want to because I was tired, but I went out and cooked Monday night. Okay? Because I have a job, like you. Some of you have a job. Okay? And I got out of the office. I went out. And fortunately, we were blessed to sell a set. And more importantly, I think I got a recruit. Okay? Okay, more importantly. But guess what happened? I invited 9 people to open house. Yeah. Okay, so how do you invite people to open a house? You build value in the experience, you create urgency, you take it away, you follow it up, right? And you get them down, you have fun. Okay, so anyways, we got some people down to open house, but if you're doing 10 shows, how many people should come to open house? These are numbers, right? That's how we goal set. You do 10 shows, how many people are going to come to open house? Say half, right? 6, okay? You're going to have owners and non-owners, okay? How many people are going to sign up? Probably 1 in 3. How many people are actually going to do it? Probably 50%. How do I know? Because we've run these numbers hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. Okay? Now, sometimes your numbers are better. Sometimes they're a little bit worse. But these are numbers you can work with. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Next. How much can I earn in overrides each month? Okay. Well, each recruit is going to cook how much?
6 shows.
Probably about 1.5 to 2 shows a week, depending on the culture of your organization for prospecting. Okay? In your organization, I think your office does about 2.5 shows per active consultant per week. Okay? Which is pretty good. Some offices are 3.5 per consultant. Okay? But some are 1 per consultant per week. Okay? It all really depends on, you know, the management and the lead generation, okay, and things like that. So if 3 shows a week equals how many sales, May? So, excuse me, 6 shows a month is how many sales? 2 to 3, depending on closing. Okay. I use 3, but let's say it's just 2. All it means is instead of 4 months, it'll take me 6 months for 1 recruit to give me $2,000. Does that make sense? But a recruit is going to convert into dollars. So if I go, okay, 1 recruit is going to give me $2,000 every 4 months. Question is, how many recruits do I want to bring in? And what am I going to do to keep them active? I look as a recruit as a store. Does that make sense? Okay, so if you have a store, do you want that store open or closed? Open. Store is open only when what? You're cooking. Okay, so that's the rationale, okay, to think of it. So if you bring in a recruit, think of that as a store. Because I'll tell you something, I know people that have stores, okay, they'll spend like $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 to get it all set up. And you know what? They still have to pay staff. And by the end of the day, you know what? They make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. Okay, and that's real. So if a recruit gives you $2,000 every 3 months or every 4 months, that's $6,000 a year. So you know what? I can recruit 5 people, keep them active, and I make the same amount of money as somebody that's got to spend $250,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year. That's pretty good business, right? So bring them in, train them, keep them retained. Next. My question to you is, when are you going to get promoted to senior consultant, distributor, dealer? What do you need to do to get there? Now, you may not be able to answer this and complete this right now, but ask yourself, when do you plan? Because you don't have a plan, you know the old axiom, right? If you fail to plan, what? You plan to, right? So what do we want to do? Have good planning, okay? You know, I know what impresses me when somebody says, you know what, I'm a senior consultant, okay, and by December 25th, I'm going to be a distributor. Just by them saying that, I'm going, they got a plan, okay? Now, if that's your team member, you go, great, how are you going to do it? And you break it down and you test it to see if their plan is good. Because their plan might be good, but it might be unrealistic based on what? Their time commitment and availability. So it may not. It might be February 1st. Does that make sense? So there's no such thing as an unrealistic goal, only what? Unrealistic time frame. Okay. So you guys still with me online? I'm glad you're here with us. Okay. So do you see yourself stack ranked in the top 10? Yes or no? Yes. By the way, May Gonzalez, May and Dawn, number 7 distributors in the region last month. That's worth a clap. Okay, Megan, I believe you're number 11. Not bad. Not bad. You've been in the top 6 before. Yeah, so now you know your competition, right? Uh-huh. Friendly competition, that's right. No dart throwing at the home, okay? Okay, so do you plan on achieving world champion next month? Yeah? Is it possible? What do you need to do? What have the champions? What have they done before in the past? Okay. Do you plan on opening a dealership? Yes, no, maybe. If so, when? Okay. Are you satisfied with your activity? Are you prepared to do, what are you prepared to do to have better results? I always believe, okay, all right, if I didn't hit my target, there's a reason why. What do I need to improve? Okay? And keep going towards the target. Now, here's the thing that we're going to spend some time on. What are the top 3 goals that if you achieve them next month would get you up early, keep you excited? Okay? And the next question is, why do you want them? So I'm going to get you to write that down. What are some things you want to accomplish next month? What are some things that would get you fired up, motivated? Okay? It might be a thing. It might be an achievement. It might be a contribution. Okay? I want to do 20-30 next month. I want to do 30. If Renato and Megan can do 30-30 in the month of August, if they can do it, you can do it too. These guys are going to do 30-30 this month. Isn't that awesome? You know what happened? I'm going to tell you something. When you're hungry, you make a decision, you go for it. I didn't even know who these guys were on the first time they came in the class, and they were hanging around, and they kicked in my door in my office, and they just walked in. I'm going, what are you doing? Get out of here. Right? And they just started hanging out. And I'm like, okay, what's up? And they started talking. We're saying, you know what? We're thinking about going full time, but we have some questions, some uncertainties. Right? So what happened? Information, gave them confidence, gave them certainty, made a decision. They made a decision, they act. Right? Boom. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yep.
How is that possible? You got to be good at what? You have to have a goal, you have to have a reason why, and you have to be good at what? Booking shows from shows. Okay? Now, next, what do you want? I know, Olga, you want to go on a shopping spree and buy yourself some new shoes. Write it down. Because you deserve it. Because you need it. What do you want to do? You want to be able to pay for your children's college tuition cash. Write it down. Okay, why do you want it? Because you don't want them to have a student loan. Great. Break it down. What's the plan? So what do you want? Why do you want it? Okay, kids going to college, got to get a new car, need $5,000 to get them a new car. Okay? You can do that next month. You're going to have to be disciplined. Right? How much on every deal you're going to be putting away and saving? Maybe $5,000 in a month is too big of a goal. Maybe that's a 3-month goal. Maybe it's a 4-month goal. Right? Okay, so what do you want and why do you want it? Why do you want that blue Ferrari? Huh? You're gonna earn enough to get a blue Ferrari next month? That's awesome. Maybe the little Hot Wheels, right? Maybe the remote control one. Okay, so you got it? Okay, couple shares. Clock is ticking. Couple shares. 1 share? May. Number 7 distributor, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it takes confidence to stand in front of a camera to do your goals. Okay? No, we need a microphone. We need a mic, thanks. Yeah. Thank you. Come on up.
So the reason why I want to go up here is because I want to be accountable to myself. Okay, I wrote this down with so much conviction, and I know that with my husband and my dealer's support, we will be able to accomplish this. So my first one is, drum roll, first, my very first certificate as a master distributor. Okay. And I just feel that it's long overdue. I've been with James for a year and a half now.
She almost said too long.
So, and actually it's part of our mission too, our vision that we will only be a dealer once I get my 12 certificates. So I mean, of course, the sooner the better, right? So September, first certificate as for master distributor. And then why? To make me feel empowered and accomplished. And like what I said, it's long overdue. And then number 2, earn $10,000, which means that we have to sell a total of 50,000 personal sales. Okay, and that if I will do it by myself, then it takes about 30 shows for me to do it. Okay, and then 3 recruits. Why? Because this business has changed our lives. I'm able to send our kids and we go to vacations and pay off some bills, and I want other people to experience that. Thank you.
You know what? If somebody spoke to you with that level of focus and conviction, certainty, right? When we talk about human needs, certainty, how would that make you feel?
Good.
Confident to work with them?
Yes.
Okay, if you want to become a good recruiter, you've got to have goals, and you've got to have clear goals. And the more specific, the more confident with your goals, guess what? Okay, the more people will want to follow your lead. Leaders have goals. Okay, thank you, May, for setting that example. All right, certificates is the name of the game if you're a distributor. So let's flip the page here. Let's talk about some long-term goals. Is it important to have long-term goals? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to ask all of you to create with me. Okay, what do I want to create for my Salad Master Business Circle? All that apply. Okay, what are some examples? Buy a new car, buy a home, buy a new home, renovate the home, college education fund. These examples that I have down here, by the way, the more you do this, the more you get good at making suggestions for your people on the goals for them to set, right? You elicit goals. You help people create goals. Pay off debts, is that important? Yeah. That's a big one for people. Did you know the average millennial is $15,000 in debt with student loans? Okay? That's the average. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people. People getting their doctorates, 200,000-300,000 and more. Okay, rental properties. Maybe you know what? I don't need extra income, but I like to create rental property for income stream so I can use that to pay for my retirement in 15 years. IRA savings. Are you capping out? Are you capping out on your 401k? Well, charitable tithings. Are you able to provide for whatever those charitable causes that you are excited about and committed to? Toys. By the way, what are toys? Fun things that you don't need, right? Okay, yes, you said that with passion. You're like, yeah, I like my toys. Okay? So toys are kind of part of that 10% blow-it money. And it's okay to have a 10% blow-it money as long as you're taking care of the other things. Okay? Help family members. I'm sure many of you would like to help your family members in different ways. Develop your cooking skills. Learn more about the business. Earn more cookware. Become a dealer. Achieve top sales awards. Okay? So these are all types of things you could create with your business. Now I'm going to ask you to actually write down a detailed explanation of the top one. Okay, write that down right now. Maybe it's buy a new home. What's the explanation of that? Well, it's going to be 3-bedroom, 4-bathroom. It's going to have a backyard. It's going to be at least on an 8,000 square foot lot. Room for the dog. It's got to be in a cul-de-sac, quiet neighborhood. Maybe there's a gate in front of the house. Maybe there's a jacuzzi bathtub. Maybe you've got a recreation room where you can have like a big screen theater or something like that. So you can kind of put all that stuff. It's going to be around $650,000. It's going to be in this city because I already looked at the price points in that area. The down payment is going to be more than zero down. Okay, right? Okay, and then you work it backwards. It's like, what do I need to do to get that down payment, and by when can I do that? And it's all going to boil down to what? Dinners booked and dinners cooked in a given month, a given week. That's what it works down to. Okay? Now, next is make a list of all the places you want to travel to in the next 5 years. You know, we travel way too much in our business, and sometimes you lose the luster of traveling, because sometimes it's like, I gotta go on another trip, right? And some people laugh. No, I've turned down Caribbean cruises. I've turned down trips to Europe and things like that. Almost every year I get a free trip to the Philippines, staying at 5-star hotel. And so these are the types of things you think, oh, poor you. No, it's time is resource. But I got excited. My wife and I got excited that the Ritz-Carlton actually has their own cruise line that's coming out. And you got to book 2 years in advance. Okay, and so we looked at the different itineraries, like, you know what? I can get excited about going to Malta, going to Greece on a Ritz-Carlton yacht. Why? Because I've seen the pictures. I'm like, that is cool, right? So you know what? We all need something that motivates us. Now, maybe what motivates you is going to be just you and your family going to Palm Springs, doing some golfing, right? Hanging out by the pool, whatever it might be, okay? So list all the places you want to travel in the next 5 years, okay? Maybe you want to go to Egypt. Maybe you want to go to Thailand. Maybe you want to go to Boracay, okay? Maybe you want to go to Hong Kong, right? Maybe you want to go to Nashville, Tennessee and see Kenny Chesney concert, right? Maybe you want to go to New York City, right? Go down to Manhattan, go down to Wall Street. Get excited. Maybe you want to take your family to Disney World, not Disneyland. Okay? These are just thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, that's good. Write it down, write it down, write it down, write it down. Now, we're not going to be able to do all this stuff right now, but let me ask you something. Okay? What's the number one most important? Put a star next to it. Okay? And you know what's going to get you real fired up is when you find 3 of them and you start prioritizing. I want to see the northern lights in Iceland. That would be pretty cool, right? Okay? So maybe you want to go to Australia and pet a panda, right? Aww. Maybe you want to go to Egypt and ride a camel. We did that in India. That was kind of fun. I rode a camel. Those things are nasty creatures. Okay? So, all right, next. What are 10 things you want to accomplish in the next 5 years? Really, you got to think 5 years down the road. You got to think 10 years down the road. The further you think, the more excited, the more empowered that you are about the now, because guess what? Every rose has a thorn. Occasionally you get poked, it hurts. Right? And sometimes we focus on the hurt rather than focus on where we're going. Focus on our dream. Right? Creating a life, designing a lifestyle worth living. So I'm going to let you finish through this a little bit later because we are coming a little bit shy on time. Okay? And then we're going to we talked about short-term goals before. Now, what are your quarterly goals? You with me? So as you grow in this business, you got to look a little bit further down the road because people are following you. People say, "Where are you going?" I go, "I don't know." It's kind of like jumping in your car on the way to a dinner and then trying to punch in the address in the navigation and you punch in the wrong city or something and you go to the wrong location. You're like, right? You ever done that before? Trying to punch in the navigation while you're driving and you take the wrong turn and then you got to do a 180 and then you're in traffic and guess what? Plan it out. Plan your life. Start thinking more than a month in advance. Start thinking about what's going to happen in the next 4 months of this year. How am I going to close this year? What's January 1st going to look like? How is my bank account going to feel? Right? Am I going to be paying cash for all my Christmas presents or am I going to go in debt? Am I going to pay off all my credit cards and pay for cash? Right? Could you get motivated about that? Could you get motivated in 5 years from now burning your mortgage? Could you get excited about buying all your cars cash? Because you can do that if you choose to. Okay? Now, flip. Recognition. I have to cruise through this. One of the things we talked about is significance, right? As a human need. Now, people join direct sales. Why? Because of the excitement. Because of the fun. Because of the challenge. Because of the contest. You with me? Okay, so when you achieve it and you cross that finish line, how do you feel? You feel good. My dad worked for 25 years and he got a gold-plated watch. I've got 7 Rolexes. I'm not bragging, but it's just a different company I work for. Just a little different, okay? So my point is how do you recognize your people? How do your people feel? Okay? When you give recognition, here's some points. It needs to be what?
Timely.
Okay, timely. It needs to be what?
Specific.
Right? Tell them exactly what, if you want to reproduce a behavior, you have to be specific of what that behavior is. Be honest and sincere. By the way, when you walk into a home and if the home is a dive, don't go, "You got a beautiful home." I was training a new person and it was so insincere. They go, "Oh, nice place you have here." And they go, "Are you kidding me? It's a dump." That compliment didn't go over well, right? You have to look for something sincere. It has to be individualized. So if I'm going, "You know what? Hey, good job, guys." But it's not always about the group, is it? Okay, it's about the individual. Make it personable. Okay, some people like private. Everyone loves public. But some people crave that private recognition. Okay? And it needs to be proportional. If they do a small thing, give a small pat on the back. If they do a big thing, big pat on the back. Okay. Here's a couple important words in leadership I'm not going to talk about now, but I will say a couple things, ladies and gentlemen. What leaders do is they give recognition to their people and they take responsibility for problems. Okay? Too many people, there's a problem. It's like, well, it's all the fires out there. You know what I've seen recently in our region? I seen a hurricane go through and like Kauai got hammered. The Big Island got hammered. We got a lady in Hilo that I got a picture of downtown. It flooded. And you know what she did? On Sunday, she went in her big 4x4, like through like 2 feet of water to a demo. She goes, praise God, the demo didn't reschedule. Sold a set, right? And on the way back, she goes, a little scary, but we did it. Is that commitment or what? You know, we got people that they go out salad cutting their coffin because of all the fires up in Washington State, up in Oregon. You know what? I'll tell you something. There's always going to be resistance, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your eyes on the prize. Okay? So, moving right along. You know what? I'm going to ask you to read the assumptions because some of them are really good. Okay? By the way, if you send an email and say don't show it to anyone, you know what you can assume? Somebody's going to read it. You have to assume that. Okay, next. I'm going to talk about a path for personal development. Okay? We're pushing through here because of time. Okay? How would you like to learn from some of the smartest people in the area of business? How would you like to learn from the greatest salespeople on the planet, the best public speakers, the master motivators, the people that are time management experts? How would you like that? Yes? Yes. Okay. All right, there's 2 ways to learn. You can learn by your own experience, okay, which is what average people do, or you can learn by what? Right? OPE, what's that?
Other people's
OPE.
experience.
Oh yeah, other people's experience, right? Okay, OPE. Okay, so Life Changer Central, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not using it as a resource, learn to love it. Because if you know it, you can plug it in and you can leave your time getting your people on board with it. In sales, has anyone read the book, World's Greatest Salesman? Yes. Og Mandino, I tell you, it changed my life. It changed my life when I read that book. My wife's been posting all of them on WhatsApp. Have you guys seen that on WhatsApp? You're not on WhatsApp? No? You got to talk to Vanna, get her on WhatsApp. Yeah, because I'll tell you, some of these posts, like, I see these, and they give me tingles. Okay? You know who Zig Ziglar is?
Yes.
Zig Ziglar sold Salad Master for 7 years. He made his first $1 million in this business. Did you know that?
Yes.
You knew that? Okay. I didn't know that. I bet Zig too. Okay? He was a great man. So, secrets of closing the sale. It's so cool when you read a book and he's talking about how to close a deal with Salad Master. You're like, wow, that's cool. Okay? He's got 2 closes in that book on closing a set of cookware. Fanatical Prospecting. Jeb Blount. This is a great book because it changes your thinking on scripting and activities and law of averages. Master the Art of Sales. Did you know my first mentor in this business was Tom Hopkins? When I first started in Salad Master, my manager said to me, he's going, we're going to Tom Hopkins seminar tomorrow. Don't worry, you don't have to pay. I'm going to take it out of your paycheck. That's how I was motivated by debt when I first started in this business. Little did I know that Tom Hopkins was a happy owner of Salad Master. Little did I know that we had the front 6 rows reserved. Little did I know I'd be sitting front row center and Tom Hopkins would come up to me, sit on my lap, and thought I went to the Master Closing Academy and gave me the mic. He said, wouldn't I, couldn't I, shouldn't I, won't you do? And everyone's like, don't you? I'm like, I got to learn that one. Okay? He was my first hero, learning how to craft words and phrases, okay, doing presentations. And then, of course, James Tanti, I've been told, has great training videos. I wrote that down just in case you didn't forget, okay? Success, Brian Tacey, he's a San Diego boy. He's got some great stuff, Maximum Potential. He's got another one, No Excuses. Anytime you get into stinking thinking, you plug in that book and go, okay, all right. Zig Ziglar, Goals. He's got some great stuff on goals. Napoleon Hill, classic, Think and Grow Rich. Grant Cardone, 10X. Anyone heard 10X? It's a little bit raw, but I'll tell you something. You know what? It changes your thinking. You go, why would I want to think about increasing 20% when I can double it, triple it, quadruple it, or 10X it? Totally changes paradigms. It's pretty cool. Okay, so we got wealth. Robert Kiyosaki basically talks about real estate and leverage and stuff. T-Var Ecker, Millionaire Mind. Get you thinking, understanding, right? Belief systems about money, changing your belief systems about money. Sandy Botkin, lower taxes big time. We talked about that before. Taxes for dummies. You're a business person. You can save a lot of money on taxes when you make the right decisions. Leadership. John Maxwell, Franklin Day Planner. Life skills, Tony Robbins. Anyone walk on fire with Tony Robbins? Right? If If you haven't walked on fire, you need to walk on fire once in your life. Okay? It's pretty cool. You start thinking of things a little bit differently. Okay? How to Win Friends, Influence People. You can do the book on that. Great book, right? But you can also take the weekend seminar. You have not taken a professional seminar until you paid at least $1,000, $2,000. You got to do it. You got to do it. Okay? At some point, sooner the better. 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. The #1 selling all-time personal development book. If it's sold like 20 million copies, why wouldn't you want to get one at least on Audibles? Okay? Public speaking, Toastmasters. Now, there's probably only about 2 or 3 of you that will have the gumption to actually go through Toastmasters. But once you do that, guess what happens? You'll learn how to speak on a platform. You'll learn how to run a better meeting. You'll learn how to craft a conversation. You learn how to ad hoc. You learn how to speak persuasively or educationally. Okay? And it's an important skill, the power to influence. Okay? NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Basically, that is used for therapy. It's used for peak performance. It's used for communication with precision. Okay? In fact, if you look that up, twice a year they have courses either in Orange County or San Diego. And if you get the discounted course, take it. Okay? It's the best money you'll ever spend. They're going to try to sell you the $5,000 course. That's okay. You can do that too. Okay, but you get value at the $200 course. Okay, so we've got inspiration, the Bible, Joel Osteen, the greatest salesman in the world. A lot of great stuff out there. You can check out YouTube. If you've seen, you may have seen the channel that we have, HCC Opportunity. Okay, there's about seven closes on there that could be of value. If you're not a visual person, you're more audible. You can record and you can listen to them while you drive. Turn your car into a classroom. Now, flip the page. Are you ready? Now. All right. Okay. So, success conditioning. Are you with me for the last 15 minutes? Are we ready to turn up the heat? Say yes. Yes. Okay. So, what is success conditioning, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. What you think, actually what you speak, you have to understand your mind is listening to. You realize that? Everything you say, your brain hears. So I have to be very careful not to be hung by the tongue. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to give you a couple affirmations. I remember in Vancouver, Canada, when we left, we had a multi-million-dollar business. We owned our own building. We owned our own home. We had a team of 25 people, and we moved down to California, and we knew nobody. The day before we left, my wife goes, "I don't want to go." And it was, to put it the least, that was a very dramatic conversation. She did not want to go. I go, "We're packed. We're going." "No, I don't want to go." No. Okay? Golly, exactly. But I'll tell you, the first 3 months was tough. It was tough being able to have a team to delegate to and have to do everything. I would sit behind my desk. I had 2 seats behind the desk, and there was nobody there, so I had to actually sit behind the seat over here and sit over here, and I had conversations with myself. "You going salad cutting today?" "I don't know. Where are we going to go salad cutting?" "Where would you like to go salad cutting?" Okay? That's why I had mirrors, because I have conversations with myself. But I will tell you one thing. Some mornings I did not want to get out of bed, because why? I was grinding. I was on the phone for 3 hours the night before, booked one show, and it canceled. And I stood in traffic for 2 hours, and I went to the show, and it was unqualified. You've been there, right? So, one thing you can control any given time, ladies and gentlemen, is your attitude. And how I adjusted my attitude was I moved my body and I spoke. Okay? And when you move your body, because what's happening is it's integrating in not just your brain, but also throughout your nervous system and your muscles. There's memory in muscles. You get a massage, sometimes people, all of a sudden, they start crying. Why? Because there's memory in your muscle. Okay, there's memory all over. Your nervous system is not just in your brain. Okay, so what we want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, is some success conditioning affirmations. Now, an affirmation is something like, "Hey, I like myself. I like myself. I love myself." You know, that's weird. First time I heard that, I'm going, that's like a little bit narcissistic, right? Okay, but I'll tell you something. You speak it aloud. You don't read it. You have to what? Speak it aloud. And you speak it how often? Daily. And if you do it morning and evening, holy smokes, you'll be unstoppable. Okay? And so preferably moving your body. So I did it on a treadmill. There's things called in-can Like I can. In what? Cantations, okay? So I'd like you to stand up with me and read the Salad Master Creed. And I want you to read it with conviction and enthusiasm, okay? Kind of like May stated her goals affirmatively, positively, with conviction. Because sometimes, guess what? You start convincing yourself. Okay? And the first person to sell is you. So let's talk about the Salad Master Winner's Creed. I will what? Win. Why? Because today I'll meet the right people at the right place at the right time for the betterment of all. I see opportunity in every challenge. I'm terrific at booking, selling, recruiting, and training. I'm a winner. I'm an achiever. I'm a leader. There you go. Oh, you believe it. There you go. Amen, sister. Okay, so we got booking, selling, recruiting, training, developing, managing, retaining, profiting. Sometimes we have limited beliefs. I'm not great at booking, or I'm not good at recruiting, or I can't retain my people, right? Okay, sometimes we get these stupid, you know what belief system is, right? The BS. Okay, and we buy into our own belief systems. Okay, so sometimes our belief systems are not the most empowering. So we're going to redirect and we're going to improve our belief systems on booking. So, okay, I what? Meeting new people. I am a people magnet. People want to help me reach my goal. I'm great at connecting with future customers. Every no moves closer to the next yes. I get paid both on no's and yeses as the law of averages come to play in all my activities. Every day, in every way, I get better and better at booking. Today, I will book 2 more shows. Do you like that? Yeah. Imagine if you open up in the morning, you're having your cup of coffee, right? And you're chanting that in the mirror. You'll be unstoppable at booking. Next on selling, okay? I create immediate trust with all my customers. I am creative and passionate influencer who has the best intentions for my clients. I represent the best product and everyone deserves to own its benefits. I provide heartfelt and world-class service to all my customers. I ask quality questions. I impact the lives of everyone who sees my show. I was born to be a life changer. I am committed to creating immediate results. Okay, that's empowering, isn't it? Okay, all right. One thing that helps me sell like a lion but act like a lamb is I think about the benefits of them owning this product a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And when I look at the bigger picture and that little roadblock where they're thinking about money, I'm not thinking about the money I make. I think about what they're going to gain from this because they see the limited picture, okay? So this is a good reinforcement to sell with more conviction and happiness for the betterment of all. As a recruiter, I multiply my time through the efforts of other people. I attract high-quality people. Everyone can be successful in this business if they choose. Nothing compares to our product. I represent the elite in direct sales. I never prejudge people. I'm a people magnet. I help others become successful business people. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Yes. I used to have a limitation at recruiting. Why? Because I wasn't successful. I was actually struggling when I first. Why? Because I didn't have a warm market. I didn't know how to cook, and I'd never done sales before. So you know what? You might say the odds were stacked in my favor of losing, but you will persist until you succeed. Okay? Next, training and development. I see, hear, feel, and know that my experiences in this business will help others become even more. I'm a beacon of light, and my presence inspires others to become more so that they can give more. I focus my efforts on the 20%. Every day, in every way, I'm becoming a better trainer. Wow, that's pretty good, right? I am a better and better trainer. I focus on the 20%. You know, it's so easy to major in minors, isn't it? It's so easy to get distracted on things to do. Okay, focus on the 20% that makes the 80% difference. Management. I am outstanding at balancing my personal and business time. I am excellent at supporting my team while continuing strong personal activity. I focus only on tasks are the highest return investment of my time. I set the example by leading in the field. I work smart and hard. I coach, I mentor, I lead. I like that one. right? Okay, that actually, instead of management, should be leadership, really what it is. Retaining, anyone can be successful in this business if they so desire. I never let another person's doubt affect my golden attitude. I never see failure, but only as an opportunity to learn and grow. I continue to inspire hope and certainty in the hearts of my team. I persist until I succeed. Failure is not an option. And by the way, next time you have somebody that has stinking thinking, if you repeated this 10, 20, 30, 50 times, and all of a sudden it just comes out of your head, and all of a sudden their brain goes from negative to what? Positive. You flick the switch. So not only have you been able to influence and control your attitude, but you'll be able to help other people have a better attitude. Do you think that's valuable? Yes. Priceless indeed. Profiting, okay? There's a difference between making money and what? Making a profit, okay? And there's a lot of times people make money, but for some reason they don't retain a profit. Money is on the mind, ladies and gentlemen. Not the love of money, okay? But understanding that your business is designed to be a profitable and healthy business. I love what I do, and every show cook moves me closer to my goals and dreams. I am happy and grateful that money flows to me easily and effortlessly. My time and energy is directed towards creating immediate and long-term income streams. I continually improve my value in the marketplace. I am paid for what I'm worth, and I'm becoming worth more and more. I am a healthy millionaire. WIM. What does WIM stand for? Okay, I think I spelt it wrong. All right. Will it make money? My activities, WIMM. Will it make money? Okay. All right, now closing off with the Achievers chant. I am the voice. I lead, not follow. I believe, not doubt. I create, not destroy. I am a force for good. I am a leader. I defy the odds. I set new standards. I set up to greatness now. I'm an achiever, I'm focused, committed, and unstoppable. Imagine if you said that 10 times running on a treadmill, right? Sweating. Would you get... I have. Yeah. But I'll tell you something. Sometimes who's going to motivate the motivator? Think about it, right? You know, you're faced with adversity every day. You got to stay up in a down time. That's the difference. If you see the people, the sports, the people that are paid the most money and have the highest level of success and achievement in sports, they're the ones that don't clutch under pressure. So you have to say, how do I condition my mind? Some of the top sports professionals, it's not because they get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and practice for 8 hours in a day. It's they private practice, and they practice controlling their mindset and their state management. Okay, so call this heebie-jeebie if you will, but you know what, why don't you just try it, because the worst case scenario is you get the words and you become a walking cliche of positive thinking, right? Do you like that? Give yourself a round of applause. Okay, so I was watching Jerry Maguire movie the other day. When was the other day? It was about 2 or 3 years ago, but just the other day I was watching Jerry Maguire, okay? Now you know Jerry Maguire, there's a couple of things it's famous for, right? What's one thing it's famous for? Show me the... Okay, now I'll tell you something. The reason why I say $1,000 a day, because, you know, it's a good goal to have, I think, you know, and if you're a distributor and you make a sale every day, you make $1,000 a day, can't you? Yes. But statistically speaking, there's very few people that are going to sell one set a day personally every day for 30 days and consistently be able to achieve that for, you know, the long term, right? It's not really sustainable. You could have a good month where you do that, but it's not really going to happen every month. So first and foremost, we want to talk about the big picture of where we're going. Okay, we're going to have 100 offices in our region, consistently selling 20 to 100 sets a month by the end of 2020. Okay. So how do you play into that? Well, first of all, you know how to set your goals, right? You know what your why is. Okay. We know how to break it down into the digestible. So if it is $1,000 a day, you know, some of you may have only made $100,000. Maybe some of you only made $50,000 a year. It doesn't really matter. But the bottom line is if you want an intangible, because that's what money is, it's an intangible, what you need to do is you need to attach it to something that's meaningful. Okay? So ask yourself, you know, what would I do with $365,000 a year? Okay? And then we go back to some of that, you know, that short-term, long-term goal planning. And, you know, all of a sudden, that's the juice. That's going to tap the why. It's not the money. The money doesn't do it for you. Because when you start making money, if you don't have the why, you lose the money. That's what people just don't pay attention to it, okay? So what do you want with it? Why do you want it? What are you going to do with it, okay? Next thing is develop your presentation. You close 1 and 2, okay? If you're closing 1 and 4 right now, you need to work on some things to get to 1 and 3. 1 and 3 is not bad, but when you get to 1 and 2, it accelerates the whole process. It really speeds up your results, okay? Get busy. Cook 3 to 5 shows a week consistently. If you're part-time, if this is your hobby business, fantastic, right? But if you want this really to be a significant part-time income that you can depend on to annihilate debt, to accelerate your retirement savings, to help your children and things like that, you got to get consistent. You got to get on minimum 2 to 3 dinners a week. You got to do there. You got to be there. 10 a month. Once you get to that, you know what? If you're getting serious about the business, you go to 20 a month. 20 a month is sustainable for each and every one of you in this room. If you're full-time in this business, 20 months magic numbers. Because you know what? You can have a bad week. But if you're doing 20 a month, you'll never have a bad month. And that the law of averages will come into play. Okay? Next point. You got to share the opportunity with everybody. Okay? You can't prejudge. You can't prejudge. Okay? And I'm not going to go into the whole thing about it. We've talked about it a little bit before. Okay? Become a distributor. You're going to make more money when you make more money per sale. Okay? And a distributor, quite frankly, if you can be a successful distributor, you can be a successful dealer, but you can't be a successful dealer without being a successful distributor. Okay? So you gotta become a distributor, make a full-time commitment, and be able to balance personal and team. Okay? If you can do that one, ladies and gentlemen, you can do it consistently for 6 months, right, where your team is doing 15, 20 sets a month, you can be a successful dealer. I've developed a lot of dealers over my time. I've seen some successfully, majorly successful. I've seen some fail, okay, and retrain and do all that stuff. But you know what the bottom line is you've got to run and be able to have a successful distributorship before you can run a business and a distributorship within a business. Because really what a distributor is they're a dealer. They do everything a dealer does except for all the business stuff. They market and they manage the team. The most important, the number one reason why businesses succeed, okay, is sales. That's it. Number one reason why businesses don't succeed, lack of sales revenue. Okay, so you got to make sure that you run enough shows in a given month consistently over time, and guess what? It's never a problem. Okay, so next point, you got to find 2 or 3 committed leaders. You got to find your right hand, you got to find your left hand. That's the way this thing works. There's only so much you can do personally. Even if you're really, really good, you got to find a right hand, you got to find a left hand. So you're interviewing people. Think of yourself as running $1 million enterprise. You've already thought about it a year down the road, 5, 3 years, wherever it is, right? That's part of your long-term plan, what you're doing. So you start talking. You walk the talk because you already know where you're going. And you start interviewing people for positions on your team. Okay, I need a right-hand person. These are the qualities a right-hand person needs. Bingo, bango, bongo. I need a left-hand person. They're almost like the right, but maybe not as right-handed. Got it? Okay? And then what you do is you teach them how to book, cook, recruit, sell. And through osmosis, by plugging them into the program, they're going to start recruiting a small team of people. That's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. You're looking for team leaders. You need a right and left-hand team leader. That's how you can get to master distributor. Master distributor consistently is you need a right and a left hand, okay? And they've got to be competent. They've got to be able, those right and left hand, they're going 3 to 5 a week personally, okay? And what's going to happen is they're going to start recruiting a small team of people. As a master distributor, you need 8 to 10 people. Consistently cooking about 6 shows a month. That's what master distributor is. It's just people and dinners. That's it, okay? Now, if you want to become a dealer, you do 180 sets in 12 months or less. And in the last three months, you propel 25 sets a month. Why? Because if you can do that without worrying about, inventory and all that other stuff, guess what? When you start doing all that other stuff, guess what? You can do both. Okay? So that's why 3 months. 3 months is going to show you consistency. You want to recruit 1 new person every week. Okay? What is that? 50 in a year. Okay? Some will, some won't, so what? Some are just going to get their stock program, some are going to fall out of training, but guess what? You're going to have 10 active people. If you can get 1 new active person added to your team every single month, guess what happens? Expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. It keeps on expanding and contracting. Key is retain and expand more than you're contracting. Make sense? Okay? And so, I have a plan. I'm not going to talk about this plan later, maybe at a distributor meeting if you're at, but a plan where you, within 3 years in this business as a dealer, you can retain $1 million if you follow the plan I teach you. Okay, it's not going to happen, and you could get lucky in your second year, but a 3-year plan, no income claims. But if you do 3 things and you do them consistently and persistently, you can actually retain $1 million if you choose, okay? But it's definitely going to have to do with managing activity, okay? So, you want to become a master dealer? 3 shows a day, every day for a year, okay? 3 shows a day, which is what? 90 shows a month, 1,000 shows. It's all about shows. How are you going to run 1,000 shows? You need X amount of people to run 1,000 shows. Do that, you're going to become a master dealer. Forget about the sales and the purchase requirements, all the SPVs, all that stuff. That all falls into place. It's all about people and dinners, okay? And so once you get to that level, a master dealer, guess what? Train other people to do the same, and you don't have to work another day in your life, unless you want to, right? Okay. Give you some thoughts? Something to think about? What are you going to do when you run on the treadmill tomorrow? Like treadmill? Who said something about treadmill? That wasn't my goal. Okay. All right. By the way, I'm not going to talk about dealership guidelines, but I do have it written down just in case some of you need a planning session with your dealer. Okay. If you're a distributor, okay, when you become promoted distributor, we'll schedule a meeting to meet with you, talk about your future. And if you are on a path to become a dealer, we will help you get there. There are certain requirements, there's certain expectations, and there's certain things that we do, steps that we'll do to help you open your own business. Now, ladies and gentlemen, did you learn something? Yes. Now, here's what we're going to do as a wind down. We're going to get you to take a big breath and exhale. One more time, inhale. Now I'm going to ask you just to relax. Close your eyes for a moment. That's right. Close your eyes for a moment. We're going to go back to the 1st of August when you came down here. Some of you go, well, I don't know what to expect, but I came in this thing because it was recommended by a dealer. As you're closing your eyes and we're reviewing this together, day 1, what did we do? We established an accountability partner. We talked about the success pyramid, and we rated ourselves on those critical areas of success in the business. We talked about our why and how our why taps into our goals, our mission, and our vision. And we worked on our vision every single week. We wrote down our thoughts. We clarified our purpose and the reason why we do what we do. We talked about the dinner reservation book and how to use it as a tool and how we can use CRM to build our business. Then we talked a little bit about bookings, about warm market bookings, referral bookings, prospected bookings. We talked about talking to people and going out and making new friends. We went out, we did an assignment, and we came back the next week revived, excited. We shared some of our mission statements, and then we broke down and we talked about features and benefits. What we realized is that the entire demonstration revolves around the benefits of the cookware, and the benefit is what it does for the customer. The benefit really ultimately is an emotion. Value building and price conditioning, how we take a product that people thought, in the store, like a set of cookware is like $500, $800, but they didn't understand the quality, they didn't understand the benefits, and through price conditioning, they were able to see how a quality set of cookware is worth $5,000 to $10,000. Using visual aids of the wedge, the blob, the flip chart, the carrot test, the aluminum water, the heat bar, all those little pieces of evidence so that people will be more impactful with your presentation. We talked about potology, meaning that the pot test is not just about baking soda tasting bad and metallic and chemical flavors. It's really about really summarizing how exclusive and unique Salamaster product is, about the cooking surface, the construction, the temperature control, and the vacuum, and how nothing on the market compares. And when we showed about the sets, we talked about how to eloquently upsell and help people fill their needs as well as their budget. We talked about dealing with closes. I want to think about it, the money, and really close on opportunity, using the phone and doing a nice sale after the sale. And then what happened is we had a 2-week break. Well, some people went to Jamaica Mon. And then we came back last week and we focused on recruiting and business building. And so we talked about the benefits of recruiting, because just as our product has the benefits, so does our business. That makes it unique and special. We talked about how we follow up our customers, because the number one way to recruit is people are in love with the cookware, meaning that the problems turn into solutions, burning, sticking, cleanup. They understand that there's a learning curve, and they learn to love their cookware even more because you've serviced them to the max. We talked about identifying who's your market, who's a good quality potential recruit, a pest, somebody that's positive, somebody that is purpose-driven, somebody that has people skills, entrepreneurial, student, somebody that is a team player. We talked about how we can pique their interest and what to say, okay, so that they will actually be planting seeds and they'll grow when they come down to the open house. We talked about the stock program, how to explain it at the beginning, the middle, the end of the show, how to use the brochure. We talked about tax advantages and really how to help people have a successful business and keep more of their hard-earned income. We talked about how becoming professional and inviting people down to an open house. We talked about dealing with objections or concerns of the opportunity. I'm not a salesperson. I don't have the time. I have another job or business. We talked about how to evaluate people where it's like, wow, this is how to train in the field specifically and how to give feedback. And we talked about how to do an interview, an exit interview at the open house and eliciting their motive, their why they really want to do this business. And then we came into today. We knew that today was the last day. We're excited. Wow, it's done. I can now apply this information. I can now leverage this to grow my business and to become more effective and help more people. And I learned about retaining people better and talking about the 6 human needs on certainty, on variety, on significance, on contribution, on growth and love and connection into my organization. I learned a little bit about time management and some of the things I need to focus on better more and using some of the tools on prioritizing my time. I seen some schedules, some representations of a part-time and a full-time schedule, and I realized there is no more time, only how I prioritize my schedule and block and plan to succeed. We talked about telephone coaching. The phone is the best tool for my consultants. We talked about taking the telephone close at the end of the show really as feedback to determine where the areas of improvement need to be made. We talked about goal setting, SMART goals, really how we can get empowered, how we can get excited about our future, not just in the short term, but also in the next 3, 5, 10 years down the road. We talked about specific templates we can use for ourselves as well as our people. We went through a recognition checklist, really how to give better recognition and help make people feel special. We talked about how we can actually improve upon ourselves using personal development resources, getting on the Book of the Month Club, getting your Audible subscription, turning your car into a classroom. We talk about success conditioning, using incantations, affirmations, positives, learning how to change a negative, disempowering belief into something that's positive and productive. We discussed some of the steps to earn $1,000 a day and some of the requirements to become a dealer. And now you want to open your eyes and say, I did it, and give yourself a round of applause. 12 hours of impactful knowledge. Now we all know that knowledge is what? Only when it's applied knowledge. So what you want to do is go back in 1 week's time, review this information, block off some time, and you want to make notes, power notes on what are some of the things you want to tackle, prioritize, and start implementing into your business. Okay? And truly, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? Use the power of team. Okay? And be on a journey, because Salamester is never a destination. Like I said before, you got to be open-minded, you got to be a student, you got to be a team player. Larry Dickman shows up at a meeting because we ask him to, not because we pay him to. Larry Dickman shows up to a meeting and he takes notes. What does that tell me? It's a never-ending journey. So keep on raising the bar. You've never arrived. Okay? So let this business turn your dreams into reality. I'm going to ask each of you to fill out a short evaluation. Okay? We're going to have, has it been handed out? We're going to have you spend a couple moments. At the same time, we're going to invite up some people for graduations. We're going to get you up here individually to receive a certificate. We're going to take a picture of you at the same time, and then we're going to all kind of come up here, and we're going to put on our aprons, and we're going to do a group shot.